Like, this is called the Pesky Report. Like,
what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Pesky Report. This is episode 581, Minor League Talk, brought to you by Beyond the Monster. I'm Hunter Knoll. With Jordan Leandre, we have Andy Sadoski, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I was a little worried about that.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Greenville Drive, assistant pitching coach. Let's just jump right into it. How about we just start off, tell people a little bit about yourself.
So born and raised on Cape Cod, like Jordan. I'm from Harwich, specifically Harwich Mariners. So I went to Harwich High School, does not exist anymore. Now they have regionalized with the town next door, Chatham. I went to a Division III school called Bridgewater State University, about an hour south of Boston. I pitched there. After I graduated, I did a couple different internships. 1 year with the Seattle Mariners in AA, a few years with the Baltimore Orioles between AAA and the Complex League. Got hired with the Orioles as a pitching coach. Went down to the Dominican Summer League, rookie ball in Florida in the Florida Complex League, and Low A before coming to the Sox for the last 2 years in Greenville.
Jordan?
Yeah, I'm just curious what got you into coaching specifically, because I mean, I got to watch you pitch growing up, and you were always somebody that, for the, not you already said you were from, Harwich, but watching the Lower Cape teams. I know my dad coached you a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Big game pitcher, but curious what got you into coaching after your playing career was over.
Well, guys like your dad, I learned a lot from him about respecting the ball game, playing the game the right way, building relationships with guys. So, I mean, I always wanted to coach just because I played. I think my internships were kind of like my foot in the door, and being able to kind of like round out my skill set actually is helping me now. Like the background with video, data, TrackMan, some scouting stuff that I did when I was an intern in AAA. All those things kind of like help round out my skill set now. A lot more so than just pitching Division III, in Massachusetts. So I always wanted to coach, and I think once I kind of like found my really took it and ran with it.
Have you noticed a like sharp change in the way that like analytics have been used over the last years? Like, has that been like a hard transition in like, it kind of used to, I don't want to just say like go out there and throw, but it's kind of like there was, hey, this guy's curveball is nasty, go out there and use it a lot. And now it's like, oh, well, in an 0-2 count, this pitch is best utilized. And it's like everything kind of has this analytic look to it, and it's getting utilized more, even in the lower levels of the minors and everything. And has that been kind of like a hard transition where it's more, everything has more of like a mathematical look and not just a baseball look?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I've kind of learned more about how to use the data as the industry has. I think like my first exposure to it was, 2016, getting to see a little bit of the TrackMan data, spin rate, velocity, some of the horizontal, vertical movement. But I think as the whole sport has learned more about A, how to make nastier pitches, B, where they play best, and then what counts they play best, like we're all kind of coming to the conclusion of like, you need to make your best bets of like throw your nastiest pitches more often, and like get ahead in the count so that you have more opportunity for guys to swing, chase, whiff. If you are falling behind in counts, hitters are going to be a little bit more passive. They're going to wait for that perfect pitch, as opposed to if you're in the driver's seat as a pitcher, you're going to put them in swing mode. I think like a lot of those things is like, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Like you still have to pound the zone. You still have to like limit damage, limit hard contact. But I think the stuff is louder, and that's just kind of a product of like we know how to make nastier pitches using the data and the high speed cameras, but also like understanding more about strength and conditioning, how to build bigger engines, better athletes, that sort of thing. So I think just like everybody's understanding as a pitching coach across the whole sport, like it grows year over year. We learn new things, like seam shifted wake, how balls move. But like I said, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You still got to play the game.
Without obviously without calling out any names, have there been any players who it feels like they've had a harder time adjusting to that? Because just through the lens of someone who grew up playing baseball and seeing like the reaction of fans, like it feels like fans want to embrace like the analytical side of things, but also you can tell some of them have a harder time embracing it. And I feel like for a lot of people, it's kind of it's just like you grew up going outside and playing baseball every day. So are there some players where it's kind of like they maybe just have a harder time adjusting to, hey, this is what the computer's telling you to do. And it's like, maybe they just grew up and it was like, man, I go out there and throw 98 on the mound every day. And that's what worked for me. So why should I change it now? Because the computer's telling me that my cutter works better than my fastball.
Yeah,
so like,
no,
is
absolutely.
there again, not calling out names, obviously, but like, have there been players in the past where it's like they've maybe like fought against what the computer's told them to do?
Yeah, I mean, I fought against the computer. I understand when guys have skepticism, or like the phrase I've heard in the past is like looking for chinks in the armor, where like they're trying to find like a faultiness in your logic, where they're trying to like zig when you want to zag. I think just like how well we can be as educators, and then how well we can meet them in the middle, like in this day and age, I think as far as like rounding out arsenals, a lot of what we do organizationally is like working backwards from what we see the hitters doing against us. Once we have a big enough sample, we can understand how much whiff guys are getting by pitch type, how often guys are in the zone early in the counts, so that they can understand what pitches to throw best early versus what pitches to throw best later when they're trying to get whiffs. It really just comes down to like guys understanding themselves best, them understanding what the big league version of them is going to look like, and then us meeting them in the middle on how we can get them there. And if there's any discrepancies on like what we believe, it's really just like respectful conversations because you have a good relationship with the guy. Like I think everybody's pulling on the same side of the rope, where we all want to get our guys to the big leagues and they want to get there as quick as possible. I think just how we get from A to B, we just have to have good communication and be honest and trustworthy about it.
How difficult is it? Because some of these guys, when they get to they get to pro ball, they've never really struggled at any level in their baseball life, at any level, regardless of age or, yeah. How difficult is it to kind of keep them from being like, oh, kind of questioning, maybe not necessarily their ability, but like their standing within, the level that they're at? Because not to name names, but there are obviously some guys that get to whatever level, and they kind of, the playing field levels out a little bit and they start struggling a little bit more frequently.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of guys, pro ball is a different beast. It's a totally different routine, totally different workload than what they're used to, whether it was in college, or whether it was high school, or whether it was, internationally, even just in rookie ball or the DSL, like when they get to pro season, or full season ball, excuse me. All these guys have to make adjustments in their routine, have to make adjustments in their lifestyle. I know a lot of these guys coming from Power Fives have traveled a lot. They've played in front of big crowds. So a lot of people think that the adjustment isn't quite the same, but a lot of them, might have only thrown, 4 days a week while they were in school, as opposed to now they're asked to throw 6 days a week. They're asked to post multiple times a week, rather than just being like the Friday night guy. And really, like, we're taking into account what they did in college because it's who they are and it's their foundation of knowledge and it's their understanding of themselves as a player. But once they get to pro ball, we're definitely treating them in a different light. And I don't think it changes our expectations of any guy, whether they were the best guy on their college team or whether they got drafted in the 20th round. We have the expectations that these guys are going to dominate and succeed and put in the best work possible towards their goals.
So obviously the season maybe hasn't gone the way you guys have hoped it would at the start of the year, 20-29 record. But even with the record, the Greenville Drive, I would say, is probably the minor league team or the team throughout the whole organization, because fans aren't exactly thrilled with how the Boston Red Sox are playing. It probably the team throughout the entire organization that fans are the most excited about throughout the roster. I mean, you could even, if you want to throw on like Anthony Ianson, even though he's not there anymore, Juan Valera, even though he's hurt, and then you throw on, Kyson Witherspoon, Marcus Phillips, Justin Gonzalez, Andy Azakar is there now, Henry Godbout, Jack Winay, who, for my money, is one of the most exciting. He does not get enough love. I'm starting a Jack Winay fan club. I feel like he needs a lot more respect from the fan base than he gets. So just there's a lot of hype. There's been a lot of hype around them. There's a lot of hype throughout the entire season. Is there like a feeling around the club? Is there there's, like I said, there's been the hype. Has there been a need to kind of like contain the excitement a little bit? Has there been a need to kind of keep the team corralled a little bit and I don't want to say like calm them down a little bit, but it's almost like they're still kids and you kind of need to get them like level-headed a little bit and say like, because one of the things and I've said this before, one of the things I love about Liam Carroll is he lets them be themselves and he'll let them, he keeps them professional, but he's also like, hey, these are 22-year-old kids, 21, 23, however old they are, let them have fun. Is there ever times where it's like, you need to remind them that, hey, you still have a long way to go. There's still things you have to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, well, let me start by two things. Before we started recording, before you got on here, I shouted out Jack Winay. So shout out Jack, two homers. And I mean, he probably leads the whole world in walks. He's, his xWOB is through the roof. He's a beast. But yeah. And second point there, Liam Carroll is a rock star. Liam's awesome. Love him. Go to war with him. And yes, absolutely. To your point, like, I think regardless of the win-loss record, it's about developing these guys as players and individuals. And like you said, they're young. I think we have the youngest average age in either the South Atlantic League or High-A. I'm not 100% sure. We're pretty close there, but we have a young team this year, especially compared to last year, on the pitching and position player side. So yeah, there's definitely like a learning curve to that, and there's lessons that these guys will be learning, whether it's on either side of the ball, hitters, pitchers. We're all learning and we're all trying to get better every day, one day at a time. And I think like the biggest thing is, like you said, Liam lets these guys be themselves and play the game with passion and play the game having fun, freely, loosely. And as long as when things come up, we address them and, we make sure that we understand A, being a professional, but B, playing the game the right way, whether it's a mental mistake on the field or anything, off the field, whatever the case may be. These guys are kids. These guys are learning how to be men and how to play the game the right way. And we're here to support them and help them get to the show.
You shouted out Jack Winay. We talked a little bit about him. I'm curious on the pitching side of things, because a lot of people's focus are on the top 3 draft picks last year of Kyson, Marcus Phillips, and Anthony Ianson. But who's an arm that you've seen this year that doesn't get as much love, you think, whether it be nationally or locally within the Greenville affiliate?
Well, I the guys know I'm going to be on here, so I bet some of them are going to be listening
That's fair.
back.
That's
So
fair.
that's like trying to choose my favorite son.
Fair.
I know if I shout out anybody in particular and don't shout out another, they'll be pissed at me. But I am going to pick a couple of guys for you. Ben Hansen throwing the ball great right now. He has all the shapes and he fills up the zone. Up a few miles an hour from last year. And Stephen Brooks needs a shout out. We call him Whiff in the clubhouse because he gets a load of whiff, obviously, a lot of punch outs. You know, dude, I love all our guys. Danny Kerwin was a repeat from last year. Finished last year in Portland. We hope he can get back up there soon. Threw the ball awesome on Sunday for us on short rest. Another older guy that's been nails out of the pen lately, PJ Labriola. I think he's got like a sub 2.5 ERA over the course of May. He really turned it on his last few outings. He's throwing cheese. Who can I shout out while I'm on here? Alex Bouchard.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, yeah. Yeah, Boosh is very smart whenever we sit down and have meetings as a group. Bob Kipper, head pitching coach, calls him the teacher's pet. Bob Kipper, the Eagle. I got to shout out Kip. But yeah, I can't go on forever. Sorry, guys. But yeah, Ben Hansen, keep your eye on him. He's all the shapes in the zone.
I could have framed that a lot better, but that's my bad for putting you.
Yeah, you really put him on the spot.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I get it. And like, I definitely couldn't, sit there and say Kais and Marcus. They get enough love. They're on Twitter every time they pitch. So.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just curious. While we are talking about specific guys, that there was. I asked a question about it earlier about guys who who haven't struggled really at any level and seeing some struggles so far professionally. I read some stuff and seen some video on Kyson. His mechanics are a little different from what they were at Oklahoma. I'm curious what the kind of the game plan is with that and kind of what you've seen the last couple times out, because he's thrown the ball real well lately. Maybe wasn't necessarily going his way early on in the season.
Yeah, the work's definitely turned a corner, and I think success leaves clues. These last two times out have been a lot better. He's been putting in a lot of good work, being athletic, not getting into deep positions, just being free, moving clean, moving easy, moving athletically. It's really been the focus for him as of late. As far as like specific biomech, mum's the word, but yeah, he's put in a lot of good work in the last few weeks, and the results have shown. Led all of High-A in whiff over that Frederick outing. I think 19 swings and misses 2 weeks ago, and then this yesterday 5 shutty. Had to grind it out a little bit, but he competed his butt off. That was fun to watch. I think for him, like one of the bigger things in how he pitches, like. He does a really great job early in counts with his cutter and with the heater being in zone. I think when he puts himself in those 2 strike counts, being able to nail the splitty and the curveball, that's what really opens up that whiff for him. And then when he's blowing smoke at the top of the zone with the heater, we saw that against Frederick, a lot of 2 strike swings and misses with the heater up. But yeah, being a better athlete right now, smooth, free. Good rhythm, things that we've been working on.
All right, I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot again here, but I'm assuming you worked with pitchers in spring training. So,
oh yeah.
Obviously, like Dylan Brown got called up recently to High-A. So, is there anyone in Single A like Dylan Brown, like Dylan Brown recently, who you are excited to see get promoted soon? Like, I know that there's been like Cole Tolbert has been absolutely on fire recently, or Jacob Myers has been fantastic recently. Like, is there someone that you're excited to get to work with again, who maybe you felt you were clicking with in spring training, where it was like, man, it feels like when he gets here, we can work wonders with this guy?
Yeah, well, Cole was rehabbing through spring. So, I mean, I think I only got to see one of his outings before we broke camp, but he was up to 96 that day, I believe. So, yeah, there was definitely some excitement there. Jacob also, Jacob Myers, I had him for one bullpen during the spring, up to, I want to say, in the 97s recently. He's been throwing hard. Other names: Leighton Finley, Jason Gilman, Barrett Morgan. Those are guys that just off the top of my head. I know I'm probably forgetting others, but yeah, excited. I'm excited. We get time anytime we get somebody new from them. Alex Reynolds, Brendan Argomenes, the two pitching coaches there. They do a great job. They're nails. And every time we get somebody, they're prepared. They know exactly what they're doing, what their goals are, what their work is. So, those are some names that just off the top of my head, I remember from the spring, but I know anybody we get, they're going to be solid.
Is there someone who you feel has taken like the biggest step forward so far this year?
Well, I mean, the easy one's Ant, because I don't really know what the expectations were, but he's pitching great.
Not counting the guy who turned into the baseball Jesus this year.
Yeah, I know. And honestly, before he unfortunately went down, Valera was looking like, a quick mover as well. He was throwing the crap out of the ball. Yeah, I mean, right now, those two that I shouted out earlier, Ben Hansen, Stephen Brooks, doing a great job. Devin Futrell, my boy, love you, Dev. He's gonna be listening. He just goes out there and shoves every time you give him the ball. I'm excited to see Marcus. He's put in a lot of good work as well. He got up to 98 this past outing. He's throwing some cheese. I'm sorry for anybody I'm forgetting. Yeah, we'll leave it there for now.
We're going to get you into some trouble today.
I know. I should have pulled the roster up before I did this. I feel like I've said almost like 12, 13 names. We also have rehabber, big leaguer Tyler Uberstein with us right now. It's also his birthday. Happy birthday, Ubi.
Yeah, that was our main goal, though. We're hoping you forget one name and then come in your office on Tuesday and be like, dude.
Yeah, I know. These guys are all probably we're going to Rome, Georgia tomorrow. We're playing the Atlanta Braves High-A team, the Rome Emperors. So our bus leaves at 9:30 in the morning. I'm sure the guys will be listening on the bus ride. Well, actually, I don't know. Will this come out by then?
Yeah, we drop every episode around 5:30 in the morning the day after we record. So they'll be
all right.
So they may have already listened to it by the time you'll get on the bus.
Maybe. Yeah, all right. I'll be ready for feedback.
So you said this is your second year within the Sox organization. I'm curious, seeing, Ant being kind of a fast riser, or at least looking like one so far this year. You got very briefly a look at Peyton Tolley last year. How sick has it been to watch him kind of ascend as fast as he has? And now, I mean, not just to the big league level, but now he's dominating at that level as well. Is that how crazy has that been for you?
Special human being, man. I am so proud of him. I'm so happy for him. Nobody deserves it more than him. He's got a heart of gold. When he was with us in Greenville, he asked questions every single day. He would come up to me in the dugout, question of the day. He would rattle something off to me. So curious kid, wanted to learn, worked his butt off. From TCU to the Red Sox, he jumped a few miles, and then from Greenville to the big leagues, he jumped a few more miles. And now he's throwing, curveballs and kick changes and cutters and sinkers, and the personality is just so infectious. The energy's just so positive and A1. I have nothing but good things to say about him, and I'm so happy for him.
Hunter.
All right, Jordan brought up 2025, and he brought up Peyton Tolley, which gives me two chances to bring this up. So I have to bring this up now.
Sure.
Because Peyton Tolley called him Big Happy, which gives me a chance to bring up Albert Feliz.
Albert, Big Happy. Yeah.
So I have to ask you about one of the favorite topics of this show, which is Albert Feliz. Just every time we had someone on, we had to bring up Albert Feliz because we've never heard a bad word about him.
There isn't one.
Yeah,
Not
it just
possible.
Seemed like the greatest guy. So I needed to just ask you any general question about Albert Feliz. And
sure.
Since you are an assistant pitching coach, I have to ask about just Albert Feliz coming into games on the mound. And there was always the urban legend, I guess, of the no one seemed to be able to get the exact miles per hour. Do you know what he could actually throw on the mound? Because we would hear like 89, 92, 93. Some people swore 94. Some people would say 91. Do you know what he was throwing on the mound?
There is at least a 3 in existence. He may have popped a 5, but I'm 100% certain there's at least a 93 in game.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I love him. That's you can't say anything bad about him. He is the most positive personality. So these guys they take classes. The international guys, they take classes like high school classes, and they can graduate. So when they graduate, they do like a final presentation, and I got to go watch Albert Feliz graduate, and he presented on a business he wants to start in the Dominican Republic called, in English, it's called Sweet Dreams. In Spanish, it's called Dulce Sueños. So he wanted to open a store that's like, different, newborn, cribs, different newborn things that you need, diapers, toys. So, I mean, just heart of gold. And he was a soldier. He went out there and took the ball and helped us out whenever we needed him to. I hate having to use position players, but sometimes in the minors, that's the way it goes. But he never complained about it. He always did it for us. And he was so great to be around.
This is officially my new favorite interview we've ever done, because that is my favorite Albert Feliz story ever.
Yep.
I'm so happy right now.
Yeah, before you joined the room, Hunter, I had mentioned that there are some guys that you guys make a point to bring up every single episode. I made sure to leave Albert Feliz out of it. I knew that you were going to find a way to bring him up at some point during the episode. I love that.
Yep. Big Happy. And we call him Big Happy. So Feliz in Spanish is happy. And so his last name means happy. And Bob Kipper, our pitching coach, who is, one heck of a personality. He is a legend, but that's he coined that nickname, Big Happy. So I'm glad Tully took it with him.
I don't even remember what I asked him, but I just mentioned something about Albert Feliz, and his face lit up, and he was just like, Big Happy.
Yeah.
He was so excited to talk about him. So
yeah,
people love him, man. Literally any time I brought him up, it didn't matter. I brought him up to Mikey Romero, who I don't think ever played with him before. Or no, it was Philip Sykes. I brought him up to Philip Sykes, who had never played with him before. And he was like, oh, Albert Feliz, I love that dude.
Yeah, everybody does.
Met him in spring training a couple of times. He was like, that dude was the man. Like everybody loved him.
Everybody does. Yep.
That's fantastic. And I'm gonna steal one of the questions that Hunter typically asks all the pitchers that we have on the show. But I'm curious, from your playing career, if you could steal a pitch from one of the guys that you've coached. And I'm sorry, Hunter, if this was a question you were planning on asking, I'm ripping it from you.
To be fair, it's usually a Derek question, but he's sick.
He's
of course.
Sick again, as per the norm for Derek. But if you could steal a pitch from somebody that you've coached since coming over to the Red Sox organization, who would it be to have prolonged your career?
I think the easy one's probably Juan Valera fastball. That's the. I think if I could give you a couple, it's like Peyton Tully fastball, Juan Valera fastball, Juan Valera sweeper. Those are insane pitches that you could probably throw 50% of the time and have success. Other pitches I'll shout out just cause Anthony Ianson, gyro slider, Kyson Witherspoon splitter, Marcus Phillips sweeper. Yeah, I'll stop there. That's enough. That's a solid arsenal.
Yeah, I'd say so. Hunter, do you have any more?
So when I got on, literally the first thing I heard you saying was something about like Fraley Encarnacion hits the ball harder than anyone.
Bat speed.
Yes, bat speed. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, or not yesterday. I think it was like 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Brooks Brannon had like 114-mile-an-hour single because he's also a freak of nature. And I think it was last year, him and Encarnacion both had like 120-mile-an-hour hits when they were on Greenville. Are those two of the or I should ask you, I should word this differently. Who are the players that you have been on that you have coached who have had the hardest hit baseballs, and is it those two?
Yeah, those are the two hardest hit balls we've ever seen live by a team that I was coaching. Sneaky. So when I coached for the Orioles in the Dominican Summer League, we had Samuel Basayo. So he does happen to be in the conversation there. I know he was a kiddo back then, but he was still pumping like 110s as a freaking 18-year-old, 17-year-old. So yeah, but Fraley's got like the top 2 bat speed in the whole sport. So he's got, 120 plus. Brooksy, he hits absolute missiles, and I'm sure Gonzo's got it in him. I'm sure he's got 120 in him somewhere if he hasn't hit it yet.
He's a terrifying human being. I met Brooks in person for the first time a couple weeks ago, and he's a terrifying human being.
Yeah, well, like terrifying looking, but he is the sweetest guy.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
so
he's
nice.
the gentle giant, but
and I don't mean
His
terrifying.
thighs are the size of my chest. I was.
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah, he's got tree trunks
size.
for legs. Yep.
Absurd.
Yeah, he's jacked. He's you don't want to fight him.
Oh man. I didn't have any other questions, Hunter. Do you have any more?
I think I'm good.
All right.
I feel like I had something about the pitchers, and now I can't remember it. So I think I'm good.
All right. Well, Andy, before we let you break, I appreciate you again coming on because it's awesome to get to talk to you, get to catch up with you a bit too. I don't think I've seen or spoken to you outside of like a couple Facebook messages here or there in like a decade, maybe even 15 years at this point. So great to see you. Great to see.
So what exactly is the lore here? Because it sounds like your dad coached him.
Yes. Yeah. When I was in high school, 17, 18 years old, like junior, senior year of high school, Lower Cape senior Babe Ruth. He was my summer league coach, his dad, Ken. And I also played with his older brother, Andrew.
And I was the bat boy.
Yeah.
Back in the day. But yeah, that's the lore there. But again, definitely appreciate you coming on and talking some ball with us. And before we let you break, is there anything that you'd like to add that we haven't gotten to cover yet?
No, thank you guys for having me. It was awesome. I'd be glad to come back anytime you want to talk ball. Tell your family I said hello. Go Drive, go Sox. If anybody's ever looking to see Red Sox minor league baseball, come to Greenville. It's an awesome city, awesome place to catch a game. Go Sox. Nothing else.
All right. Appreciate you, Andy.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys.
All right, we are back. Thank you again to Andy. That was fantastic. And we are now going to just get right back into the regular portion of minor league talk. It is still Hunter and Jordan, and we're going to jump right into Worcester. And I think we should start with Angel Bastardo because the Red Sox pitching has been, or I should say the bullpen has been spotty at best recently. And Angel Bastardo had another very strong week this week. 2 appearances, didn't allow any runs or hits over 2 innings of work, struck out 4 batters, walked 2. He's down to a 3.45 ERA, 179 batting average against, 1.4 whip over 10 appearances this year, 23 strikeouts, 12 walks in 15 2/3 innings. The walks is a little bit of an issue, but again, you have to remember, dude hasn't pitched since 2024 when he had Tommy John surgery midway through the season. And then there was the whole thing with the Rule 5 draft, went to the Blue Jays, came back here after spring training, I should say, when he didn't make their opening day roster. So it's been a long layoff for him. So, and also this is his first time in AAA. He moved to the bullpen. He was a starter. So, I mean, it's been, for my money, it's been phenomenal work from him so far. I'm not super worried about the walks, obviously, though it's not a great number, but he's been very good. He's had a couple rough outings, but overall, I think it's been very sharp. He's still hitting pretty high numbers velocity wise. I don't think he's going to be the first option, but the fact, and I'm sure we'll talk about him in a bit, but the fact that they're still not going to Tommy Kahnle, it really feels like they have no interest in him. Like they didn't go for the upward mobility clause. They basically told him like, hey, if you can find somewhere else to go somewhere else. He didn't. I've said it before. The ERA is good with him, but the people are getting on base against him. I know obviously a 1.4 whip isn't great for Bastardo either. So I don't know. I'm sure they're still going to give him a chance. But I feel like he's going to have a short leash as well. So I still feel like Bastardo's going to get a chance at some point this year, unless everybody figures things out. But it's really hard to feel confident about like Coulombe at this point. What are we doing with Greg? Like he's had some good moments with the Red Sox, but it's just like, I mean, dear Lord, man. It's when he was warming up, when there were runners on base when Suarez, like that, I genuinely, like, if he came in that game, the game was over. If he came in the game when there were runners on base, the game was going to be over. So like they got to figure there's multiple relievers that have to go in that bullpen, and if they do, Bastardo's going to get a chance. He's earned a chance, and this was just another good week for him. Another week proving that he's almost ready to get that chance.
Yeah, and I think for somebody like Bastardo's in particular, and I think it's worth noting that he did have an outing, a week or two ago where he had 4 walks, so that's kind of skewing those numbers a little bit. Now, granted, 8 walks in, I think, 13 2/3 innings other than that one outing it's not like it's great, but obviously it's much better than 12 over 15. But the things with him is, like you said, the velocity's up. His strikeout rate is 92nd percentile in AAA, and he's also 90th percentile in hard hit. 94th percentile and whiff rate overall. Those are all numbers courtesy of tjstats.ca. Promo code pesky, 25% off your first month. How's that for plugging the ad? But yeah, I think it's interesting what the Red Sox are doing with their bullpen. We've seen Tyron Guerrero, which is not Tehran, learned that when he got called up because it's been Tehran for a billion years, and now suddenly it's not. It was Tehran in spring training.
Yeah, but that happened with Travis A-Chain.
Yeah.
And it's like, apparently, like, he told people when he first got drafted, but it's like, then he didn't tell people again, and it's like, say something, man.
Yeah, and like, it's your name, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally your identity. Like, I guess for some people, it doesn't really necessarily.
To be fair, I did that in college once. Now that I think about it.
What'd you do?
My freshman year in college, I was in my like English class, or like it was like a literature class, and I got put in a group, and I introduced myself, and the one guy thought I said Connor, and I went by Connor for like a day and a half, and then when he said Connor, the teacher said, "Do you mean Hunter?" And he looked at me and he was like, "Dude, is your name Hunter?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, man." And it was like it was so, and I was like, why didn't I just tell him? Like, why didn't I just correct him? So, like, I guess I get it, but that also feels like a very small scale situation compared to being a athlete and having the whole world say your name wrong.
Yeah, I had something similar when I was in high school, except one of my teachers kept referring to me as Jacob. Now, in her defense, there was another kid this was my high school history teacher. I'm not going to dox her. Her name will remain anonymous. But there was a kid in my class who was also my neighbor, also a big kid named Jacob. So, like, I guess fair enough, but he never got called Jordan, which I guess was the frustrating thing for me. I was always Jacob, but he was never Jordan. So it wasn't like she confused the two of us. She must have just thought both of us were named Jacob. But yeah.
I hate being Mr. Story Topper, so I apologize for doing this, but fifth grade, I had the same fifth grade teacher as my brother. And my brother's name was Tyler, and she used to call my brother Taylor. So she would call me Taylor. So she would call me by my brother's wrong name way too often. So like she wouldn't even call me by my brother's name. She would call me by the wrong name that she would call my brother, which was really infuriating. Like, they could be one thing if she would call me Tyler and then be like, oops, I'm sorry, that's your brother. She would call me Taylor. And it was like, that, you're wrong twice. Like, come on.
Doubly wrong. Like, get it?
Lovely lady. She was great.
Uh-huh.
And her nephew was the librarian, and he was awesome too. Like, he was like the awesome guy who like used to like hang out with, like, he would like play kickball with the kids. Like, he was great. But like, dear Lord. Get the name right. It was very upsetting. But yeah, she was awesome. Loved her.
Yeah, back to the Red Sox.
Back to
bullpen.
baseball. Yes.
back to baseball. Yeah, I mean, I look at somebody like Angel Bastardo, and I see honestly some similarities between him and Guerrero, who we've already seen get an opportunity. Dude just throws cheese. Doesn't. He maybe has a little bit of issues with command, but he gets a ton of whip, gets a ton of called strikes, and gets a lot of strikeouts as a byproduct of it. And I think honestly, for like high leverage relievers, I could deal with some walks if you don't give up a bunch of hits too. Like he strikes a bunch of guys out, and I think in high leverage spots, being able to miss bats is huge. And like that's something that like Weissert doesn't do. That's something Danny Coulomb certainly doesn't do. Like pick a struggle. If you're gonna throw 90, you better throw strikes. And Coulomb does neither of those things. Or well, he throws 90, but he doesn't throw strikes. That's the frustrating thing. But like, in addition to him, like Edward Rivera, we've seen him, pitch at the MLB level and succeed. Only one outing against the Yankees, but this week he had 4 innings, earned run, 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. A guy that I also think is more than overdue for a call-up, especially since the Red Sox seem to not have any idea who should open for Brian Bayo. Seems like a decent opportunity to get Rivera some burn at the major league level. Give him an inning or two.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't give up 4 runs in an inning. That'd be pretty sick. And then you can give Bayo.
Someone's got to not give up 4 runs, right? Someone has to.
There's something about Brian Bayo bump day, where that first inning is hell for the Boston Red Sox, and whether Bayo pitches it or somebody else does. But I think that's another opportunity. Like you can, if you want to give Canely the opportunity first, although Canely hasn't exercised his upward mobility clause, right? Because I feel like that should have been announced.
He
at some point
didn't. He had the opportunity and no one wanted him, so he didn't. I will say I was just kind of crapping on him recently. He had a very good month. He's had a good month. Seth Martinez's like overall numbers aren't great, but he's had like a couple blow up outings, and like his batting average against is really good and his whip's really good. Like you mentioned, Eduardo Rivera's been fantastic. Jack Anderson's been fantastic. Kyle Keller's been much better recently. We mentioned Angel Bastardo. Like they have so many options in AAA, and it's like they just keep throwing out these arms in the majors who have just been piss poor, and I don't get it.
Yeah, and I think like somebody like Weissert has options, so I don't know why. Like I get that once they use that option on Weissert, he no longer has any more. Now they can, send him up, call him, or send him down, call him back up throughout the entire year, and it doesn't count as more options. But like, everything they do from now until July 31st should be geared towards salvaging 2026. And
like Breslow's job's on the line, man. Yeah. Like he should be trying to win games. He shouldn't be caring about Greg Weissert's next season. Like, man, if you don't figure it out this year, like,
but I think somebody like Weissert, I know he's had success in this market, both with the Yankees briefly and then obviously with Boston, but it's not like a new thing with him and inherited runners. This has been his entire career. He's fine. You give him a clean inning, but when you need him to be the fireman, he is going to spread that fire before he even thinks about putting it out. Like when he came
he's
in,
putting grease on that puppy.
Yeah, when he came in against Atlanta on, what was it, last Thursday, I want to say. I was there with my little brother and my little sister, and when Yastrzemski got brought in to pinch hit, I'm like, this is going to go very poorly. When it got 0-2 on Yastrzemski, I turned to my little sister and said, he's going to walk Yastrzemski, and then Acuna is going to blast one over the monster for a grand slam. And lo and behold, like obviously, like I'm not some like oracle. Everybody probably saw that coming. But like at some point you got to pull the plug. And a guy like Bastardo, a guy like obviously Tommy Canley's a proven MLB caliber, high leverage reliever. Maybe, I mean, you're not going to just throw him in the 7th inning right away, but like I don't know, you wanted to sign him every year pretty much since his first Yankee stint ended. You finally get him. He has a good month of May. He's been fine on the whole. I know the walks have been a problem for him, but like he's a guy with a track record, and if he sucks, then just cut him too. Like I don't know. I mean, you keep throwing the same thing out there and hoping for a new result, and we all know that that's the quote unquote definition of insanity. I try something different. It's not working. And there's a few guys in Worcester that deserve that opportunity.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Like we've mentioned all the names, Alec Gamboa. It gets to a point where you have to wonder who's making the decision of, because like I don't remember who it is, so I'm sorry for not giving the credit to whoever it was, Chris Cotillo or I don't know who, but whoever asked Chad Tracy the other day of like, they asked him after the game when Greg gave up 900 runs again, of like, hey, why do you keep throwing Greg Weissert in these situations? And he kind of gave like he kind of like answered a different question. And it was like, is he even making the decision? Like, I've genuinely wondered since he's taken over, has he been getting to make all the decisions, or is he kind of being told like, hey, we want you, like there was the report that came out today of like was it today or was it yesterday? I feel like it was this morning, of like the Theo Epstein's not very happy with Craig Breslow situation going on.
Yeah, which I'm not necessarily like one to give Theo Epstein props for saying that. Like, brother, you're the one who like wanted him to get hired. You advocated for this hiring, and now you're like, I'm disappointed in his job performance. Like, I mean, that's like basically to a T saving face. You're like, you're the guy who got him hired, and then you're like, oh, he sucks. Like, we're all wondering who's responsible for this.
I think you should leave when Tim's in the hot dog.
Yeah.
Who did this?
It's like I don't know. Hunter just disappeared. Oh God. Oh man, give me a sec. Hunter's back.
I'm back. I'm an idiot. That one was on me. I got kicked like 4 times last week, but this one was 100% my fault.
It's a given that StreamYard is going to be up to some tomfoolery a lot of the time. And, like, it's crazy to think that, like, StreamYard would give you crap because lately Isaiah Connor-Falefa has been balling, and that seems to usually be the trigger to getting people booted from the StreamYard is ripping Isaiah Connor-Falefa. But, hey.
Him being, like, genuinely, like, the second or third best bat in the offense for the last, like, 3 weeks has been hilarious. Yeah, with Contreras out right now, he's the second best bat behind Duran.
Yeah, as sad as it sounds, right? Like,
and it's not even a bad thing. Like, it's not like, oh, he's the second best bat and that's how bad they've been. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, they haven't been great, but it's like he's the second best bat because he's hitting like 340 over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think during his hitting streak, he's hitting like 468, which is like he's not having and I'm not saying this like ripping friend of the program, Lou Merlone. He says this on the broadcast. He's not having a Lou Merlone hitting streak where he goes 1 for 4 every single game. Like, he's a lock for 2 hits lately, which is good because, I mean, the Red Sox have desperately needed offense. No Roman Anthony. Willier's been chilly of late. Wilson Contreras has been in and out of the lineup. And then you roll into a game with 33% of your lineup being catchers, and then you also have IKF in the lineup, and you score 9 runs, and he's right in the thick of it. So it's like, it's crazy. And this, I looked at the numbers today, and like giving some grace to the fact that he's only got 80 something plate appearances this year. This is the highest OPS he's ever had on June 1st in his MLB career. It's only 756, but like that just goes to show the kind of player he's been in his career and the kind of production the Red Sox are getting out of him, which is good. And like to tie it back into the Woo Sox here, there's some guys down in AAA that have been kind of putting the pressure on some of these guys on the big league roster.
If he wasn't doing this, we would be calling for multiple people to get called up right now in place of him.
Yeah, and the guy that I talked about him the last time I filled in. Anthony Siegler had another really nice week for the Woo Sox. He went 8 for 16, had 2 home runs, which I think tripled his home run total for the season. I think he's at 3 now. 6 runs batted in. You know he's going to be good for a handful of walks. He had 5. He's like my favorite dude on the Woo Sox. You know, as far as like favorites to get called up to the big league level. He's the one guy we haven't seen from that Kyle Harrison trade. Not to say he's going to save that trade from being a disaster, but you know he's been pretty good. And IKF, you know, fighting for his damn life or career as he has said, you know, in media after games. It's nice to see that he's kind of staved off, you know, somebody from the Woo Sox taking his job and his career.
Yeah, he's hitting 300 on the year. He's got more walks than strikeouts. He's only played in 29 games. He missed the first chunk of the season, which I would argue has made what he's done more impressive because he kind of had to come in late and then start the year off cold. But yeah, he's been phenomenal. I know Yankees fans were like making fun of Red Sox fans for being happy about him. I don't remember if it was him or Mana, to be fair. Like, I don't remember what one that they were like, but I feel like it was Siegler. I feel like they were like, oh, he's terrible, which kind of wouldn't make sense because he only got to Double-A with, well, actually, looking at his career numbers, he was bad in Double-A with them, so maybe it was him. And he was a first-round pick for them, so maybe it's one of those things where it was like he was a first-round pick and stunk it up at Double-A for them. But he's still only 26. There's no reason he couldn't be a very productive major league player. But yeah, he does seem like someone who could come up and be a very good, just like all around, play multiple positions, just get on base. You know, he's not going to give you a ton of power, but it would objectively be pretty funny that it's another guy who could technically play catcher.
Let's have I want all the catchers.
What?
Everybody in the organization that can play catcher should.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just have a team full of catchers. Let's call up Nathan Hickey. Let's call up Jason DeLay. Let's just everybody can catch. No, if you're on the major league roster, you have to be able to catch.
Yeah, we were talking about on the weekend show, like the Red Sox had Ali Sanchez just existing on the roster last year for an entire month. Like, can we bring him back? Like, I
forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was so weird.
And then they just kept giving him to other teams and then buying him back. Like he was getting passed around like terrible weed last year. He was like every you didn't know, you could flip a coin every single day and wonder if you'd see Ali Sanchez in the dugout. You know he wasn't going to get into the game, but you knew he'd maybe be there. But yeah, Anthony Siegler, not a guy who has like anything like super exciting about his profile. Like, he doesn't have these incredible exit velos. Like, I'm looking at his average exit velo is very good at 91.2, but his 90th percentile exit velo is only 101.2, and his max exit velo is 4th percentile in AAA. But doesn't chase, doesn't strike out, walks a ton, and he plays multiple positions. He's a switch hitter, if I'm not mistaken. I'm like 99% sure he's a switch hitter. I really hope that the 1% doesn't end up being correct here. Nope, he's a lefty. God damn it. Wait, but it says he throws both hands. Is he ambidextrous? Fangraph says he's bats left, throws both.
Yeah, it does say that.
Huh.
I mean, he does with the fact that he plays multiple positions. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Like with him catching, playing third, short, or second. Like maybe, you know, when he's catching, he throws with his right, and when he's playing
first base or the outfield.
Yeah.
Hey, he got a game in at first base last year. I'd have to check that. But anyway, we don't have to. This doesn't have to be an Anthony Siegler pod. But he did have a really nice. He did have a really nice week.
And then Nate Eaton just continues to be a freak. 6 for 15, 4 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, 2 walks. He's up to 291, 11 doubles, 2 triples, 5 homers, 8 steals. Don't understand. I mean, don't get me wrong. Monasterio's had a good year. Kind of feel like Nate Eaton got shafted this year. He was very solid for them last year in the majors. He had a really good year in the minors. But like in the majors, he slashed 296, 348, 383. He stole 9 bases in 41 games. Like, I know some people were not big fans, other people loved him, but like he could play all the outfield spots. He can play multiple multiple positions in the infield. I feel like he would have made sense as an all around option, and I feel like the team could have desperately used his speed. And like I just feel like he would have been like a good spark plug. And don't get me wrong, Monasterio's been solid and he's had some really good moments. But then there's also times where like they've tried to have him bunt and it hasn't worked out well. And it's like that's something where I feel like Nate Eaton would have been better suited for that situation. And also strange that he has yet to play the outfield this year. Or I'm sorry, he has yet to play anywhere other than the outfield this year. Like that just seems like a weird choice by a team. I'm sorry, he's played 1 inning at third base this year. So like clearly that was a situation where like I don't remember that 1 inning, but clearly that was a situation where someone got ejected or there was an injury or they had to make a ton of substitutions and he came in for an inning.
You're telling me the Red Sox are making it very hard for somebody on their 40-man to break the major leagues?
Yeah, but it's just like they have 900 outfielders and they've had, don't get me wrong, Durbin's played much better lately, but it's like they've had injuries and struggles and all these other things in the infield. And like Trevor Story went away for a year and a half and Durbin's been bad and all these, and until recently IKF was terrible up until, 2 weeks ago. And all these things have been going on and they're like, oh, here's a guy that was really good for us last year. Stay away from the infield, get away. You're not allowed. And it's a weird choice. And like, he's been fantastic for them in AAA, but whatever. And then Alan Castro was really struggling. He went 0 for 19 2 weeks ago. Or I guess 3 weeks ago, technically. He's had just a really tough time, but 5 for 14 this week with a triple, walked more times than he struck out. His last 2 weeks combined, he's been really good. He's up to a 203 average, still not great, but like getting better. He's got 9 steals on the year, 24 RBI, 20 runs scored. So, back-to-back good weeks. Maybe he's figuring it out. Like he had gotten all the way down to a 174 average. So in 2 weeks to bump it up to up 30 points to 204 is solid. It's a 23-year-old who pretty consistently starts the year off rough. And it's his first time ever in AAA. And that's another thing. He usually struggles when he first goes up a level. So the combination of the start of a year and starting at a new level, like it's not surprising that he struggled a little bit. So who knows? Maybe June is a big month for him. And, we're here on July 1st and it's like, Alan Castro's hitting 235 with 10 homers or 12 homers. And it's like, all right, that's a solid first year so far in AAA.
Yeah, and then real quick on Nate Eaton, well, just one thing just to add to the hilarity of the fact the Red Sox are just adamant about him not coming back. He started 2 playoff games for them last year. like they clearly trusted him enough to play in Yankee Stadium in a playoff game. And now obviously Roman Anthony was hurt, but he's hurt now too. Like I don't know. And like Red Sox fans were all about Nate Eaton last spring because he and Trace Thompson were like, murderers row in March. And both, I had to hear so much about how both of them should have made the roster on opening day.
Dude, there were fans that were like dead set that Trace Thompson was like the guy. And it was like, he's like a 31-year-old career 200 hitter. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, like he's got some pop, but like one, I would not have been able to allow myself to root for him as an avid Klay Thompson hater, which is aged just beautifully because now everyone hates Klay Thompson.
Cheating on Meg Thee Stallion you should lose your genitals.
Yeah,
that's a wild thing to do.
I agree, and a lot of basketball players are just obsessed with cheating on some of like the or maybe not necessarily just basketball, but like Ime Udoka cheating on Nia Long. I know that situation in and of itself.
Objectively, 2 of the most gorgeous women in the world. Like,
yeah, like come on now, ridiculous, just asinine behavior. But like, yeah, that has nothing to do with Nate Eaton, but like Nate Eaton. like he got ripped apart for no reason in spring training. I was so surprised to see how many people didn't like him all of a sudden. Like a guy who had a great camp last year. Mike Antonellis came on the pod in the offseason. He was a big Nate Eaton guy. He got to see him a lot last year in Worcester as well. He's having a good year again this year. The Red Sox are just like refuse to call guys up unless somebody gets hurt. Like that's the reason Mickey Gasper got called up because of Story getting hurt. Or no, Sogard got called up for Story. I don't remember why Gasper got. Oh, because Roman got hurt. Was for Mickey. So like you're allowed to option guys. Like it doesn't have to be an IL situation. And like maybe patience was a virtue with Caleb Durbin, and now he's figured something out and he'll be productive offensively.
But it's like he also could have figured that out in AAA and saved you a couple of bad weeks.
Yeah,
and
you
like
could have gotten
he could have figured those things out in AAA and come back better. While Nate Eaton helped you, and like maybe Nate Eaton was hitting 240 in the majors, and it still wouldn't have been great, but it would have been better.
It's better than 160, or I think with 147 was where Durbin bottomed out at 0. He started over 20, but like again, and just to put a bow on it, Eaton had a solid week, and I don't know if you have any more position players, but I do have one more pitcher I wanted to highlight. Another guy on the 40 man, Jake Bennett had a really great start. This week, I think it was 16 whiffs, if my recollection is correct. He had 5 innings, 1 earned, 1 walk, 7 Ks. He was not really getting a whole lot of whiffs in his brief big league stint, but 16 whiffs is nothing to scoff at, and just another depth option for the Red Sox with a guy like Crochet still on the mend. You don't know, and like Ranger Suarez is not the pinnacle of health. We've already seen, Sonny Gray hit the shelf at one point this season. So, like, just another guy to kind of keep on the periphery if you're a Red Sox fan. Keep tabs on him.
Yeah, I said it last week when Derek was on. I'm intrigued by him because when he first got sent back down, he had like his worst AAA start, and I was scared because there's like that. I don't know if cliche is the right word, but it seems like when people like get that quick shot in the majors, sometimes they go back down and all of a sudden they like randomly suck in AAA for a little bit. And it's like, oh no, is he gonna like stumble? Cause all of a sudden he's like almost trying too hard to get back to the majors. And then
we're pissed that he's in AAA. I'm not gonna name names, but
what the
I have
hell?
one
I was in the majors. Like,
mind.
why am I back here? I deserve to be in the majors.
Yeah, I have one guy in mind that I'm not going to mention, but there's one reliever in particular, recent Red Sox history that was like that.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. Not a fan of a certain much bigger Red Sox podcast.
Oh, maybe we're not talking about the same guy. I'm going to say it in the chat. That was who I was talking about. So I don't know if we were talking about the same dude. Oh. Yeah, no, him too. It's definitely him too.
Anyway, so that's funny. There was 2 of them. But then he like went out there and had like the 11 strikeout game, and then like he had like a 7 strikeout game. And he's getting a ton of whiffs, and it's like, and his velocity's been up, and it's like, okay, like maybe he went back to AAA and things are starting to click for him, and it's like, okay, he had some solid starts in the majors, like they weren't blowing you away, but he was getting through 5 innings and putting the Red Sox in position to win. And it's like now he's in the AAA and he's getting the whiffs and the velocity's up. And if he can go back to the majors and both of those things can click together, maybe those two things can marry and he can be like the special pitcher that the Red Sox were hoping for when they traded for him. That they were like, oh, we can work with that extension and we can get the velo up, and like he's the pitcher that they were like, oh, he's better than Perales, and that's why we made that trade. So yeah, I'm very excited by him. But I did just want to say on the Nate Eaton thing, you mentioned how he started for them 2 games in the postseason. Not only did he start, he went 2 for 5 with a double and a walk, so like he was good in the postseason. And then I also wanted to say with Siegler, you mentioned his baseball savant, how like it was like a little strange. You also mentioned Nick Sogard. It's kind of like Nick Sogard's baseball savant, where it's like he doesn't hit the ball very hard, but he doesn't strike out and he gets on base. and like that's a productive player still.
Yeah, I think sometimes like I'm definitely an analytical person when it comes to like how I look at players. Like there are certain guys that I don't like. Like Caleb Durbin was not a player that I necessarily liked, but I don't want to like I think we've lost the plot where we are like, oh, this dude's a singles hitter, therefore he is useless. Like Yoshida, for example. Like his OBP is 350. Like is that great? No. But when like would you rather have a dude with a 350 OBP who's not going to slug it all, or would you rather have a dude who maybe has a few more home runs, but his OBP is like 290 and he's like he's also hitting like crap as well? Not to like there's nobody in particular that I'm thinking of, but it's like when I'm talking about, we need to get certain guys in the lineup. They're like, "Oh, but all he does is hit his singles." It's like, would you rather him get out? Like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about here. And like a guy like Siegler, a guy like Sogard, like there's still room for those guys at the major league level. And for the Red Sox, like a team that doesn't slug, like you can complain all you want that so and so's a singles hitter, but point me in the direction of a dude in the organization or in like on the cusp of the big leagues that isn't a singles hitter that's on the 40-man roster. Like if you want to go with Campbell, like he's not a singles hitter, but he's still kind of, an unfinished product. Like Cheng, not a home run guy by any means. Mikey Romero's not on the 40-man, but like, he's having kind of an up and down season. Like it's not like you could just take somebody out of the lineup and then be like, okay, now here comes Aaron Judge. Like that's just not how you do. That's just not how you build a roster. It's just not possible that way.
Yeah, absolutely. But are you good on AAA?
Yeah.
Okay, so down to AA, or I guess up to AA, up to Portland, and we should probably start on the pitching because, admittedly, the hitting side of of everything was a little rough this week. So, but the pitching has once again delivered because Portland has been pretty gross this year. And surprisingly, we are going to start, or I guess not surprisingly, because he's been phenomenal lately. We are going to start with Blake Wehunt, the chicken farmer. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, only 1 earned, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Blake Wehunt has been absurd lately. His month of May, just bananas. Over 4 starts, 17 and a third innings, 14 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 5 walks, 28 strikeouts. He had 11 in his, so he had 8 this start, 11 in the one before that, 7 in the one before that, just 2 in the one before that. That's because that was not a good start. So you take that start out, and it was just ridiculous. Yeah, I've mentioned it before. Blakey Wehunt is one of those guys where it's like every year he gets a couple starts where it's just like this guy could be absolutely special. He's a monster of a human being, 6'7", 240 pounds, throws like 98, 99. And then he gives you a couple of these starts where you see it and then he gets hurt and you feel like you never get the full Blake Wehunt experience. He already missed a couple weeks to start the year. Like he threw a third of an inning. I believe it was on opening day against Somerset, and then he missed the next 19 days. So hopefully that was his injury, and hopefully he's good for the rest of the year, because genuinely, I think if he stays healthy, he becomes someone that is up for a major league promotion by the end of the year. Someone that I think fans talk about a ton. I think we see him in Worcester before the end of the month. And I think he becomes someone that fans get like just genuinely enthralled with, because again, just like a very imposing presence on the mound, and fastball alone, I think it is just genuinely terrifying. Again, it's oversaid at this point because it's the thing that the Red Sox do at this point is extension. But he's a massive human being, so there is the extension. And it's just the fastball with his size. It plays. There's no other way to put it. It plays.
Yeah, the whole perceived velocity thing. It's like he basically, when he releases the ball, it's already in the catcher's mitt. Like he's dropping it in the catcher's mitt, which is absurd. Somebody that size should not be as athletic as Blake Wehunt is. And I feel like he's somebody that, like you've mentioned, somebody fans will start talking about more the more they actually get to see him pitch. Because kind of lost in like the shuffle of the fact that the Red Sox keep bringing in all this high end pitching talent, and then like even in recent years, like with like Richard Fitz and Hunter Dobbins, like other guys that are kind of in that same mold of like probably more of a major league depth starter than like a high end starting pitcher, maybe more of like a bulk guy in that range, but like quietly having a pretty solid pro career. Injuries aside, he's shown a lot of promise. 9th round pick back in 2023. I also had a different guy. I don't know if you had anything else on We Hunt before I jump to somebody else, but Caleb Bolden had a couple of really nice outings this week. Only 3 hits in 7 innings, 1 walk, struck out 8, did not allow any runs. Another arm that the Red Sox are getting a whole lot out of, kind of in the mid minors. Not sure. I didn't see what his sample is in Double-A, so I don't know where he's at kind of in his development. Let me double check that. He's made 13 appearances in Double-A. So I mean, we're talking about relievers specifically. Those guys can ascend pretty quickly as well. And like we talked about with Triple-A, guys like Rivera and Bastardo, like when those guys get called up and other guys get removed from the organization, whether it be DFA or upward mobility clause or whatever it may be, somebody like Caleb Bolden is somebody that could, I mean, he may just get some time in AAA anyway with injuries and stuff. I know that guys get promoted all the time. Who was it last year that got promoted from like Greenville to AAA for like 3 or 4 days? I remember there was a couple guys that just were there because they just needed warm bodies around the trade deadline.
Pitching wise, or
I don't know if it was a pitcher.
I think Max Ferguson did it.
I think Ferguson's who I'm thinking of. He got called up from like Greenville to AAA. We're all like, huh? It's like, yeah, right around the deadline. That's typically when they just. I
think like Max
bodies.
Ferguson did it, and then I think like Framey De Leon went from like single A to Double-A. There were a couple guys where it was like they jumped up 2 levels. I feel like there was another hitter that did it from high A to AAA. But that happened a couple times last year where they got the big jump.
Yeah, but really nice week from him as well. And obviously, I know we'll talk a little bit about Heinsohn's start as well, because we can't not talk about Anthony Heinsohn at this point. I don't know if you want to take it from there.
Yeah, I'll just we'll jump into Heinsohn in a second. So I'll just run through a couple solid weeks. Ray DeSena, 4 innings, no runs, no hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Gage Zeal, 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 strikeout, 6 walks. He's having a strange season. Obviously, he was the return in the Jordan Hicks trade, which is not looking great for the Red Sox. I guess this is the first episode, so I do want to mention congratulations to David Sandlin. Made his major league debut. That was very cool to see. Obviously, we will always be rooting for him. He had a phenomenal major league debut for the Chicago White Sox. Gage Zeal having like a decent season. A 5.54 ERA is not great. 3.10 batting average against is not great looking either. But like only 8 walks in 37 and a third innings, 41 strikeouts is very solid. And 4 of those walks came in his last outing before this one against Reading. So like outside of that, he just hasn't been walking people, but he just has been giving up a ton of hits. And he really he hasn't given up a ton of homers. Like he's given up 7 in 37 and a third innings, which technically isn't great. But 2 of them came against Somerset, and both of them were against Marco Luciano, who at one point was like the top prospect in baseball, and just he's been in the majors. He should not be in Double-A. Like, I don't know if he still is, but at the time when he was there, he was hitting like 300 something with like 8 homers. And I was like, dude, what are the Yankees doing? Why is he should be in AAA, like knocking on the door in case the Yankees need him, because I still think he's very talented and like he should at least be major league depth for them.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I couldn't really tell you who else has hit homers against him, but like that right there is at least 2 homers where I don't really blame him for giving up homers to a very good used to be major league player / used to be the best prospect in baseball. And it's like when I watch him pitch, I can see him putting things together. And this is a guy who was a 4th round pick in 2024. He's still only 23 years old. Like there is talent there. It's just rough that they gave up a very good prospect who it's only been 1 start in the majors, but who put together a very good start just to get rid of an absolutely disastrous contract that you did not need to take on, just to get rid of Rafael Devers, who just had a ridiculous month of May. Like that's just I don't want to revisit that trade. It has gotten talked about enough, but it's just one of those things where it's like, man, all the people that were doing the whole like, oh, nobody's complaining about the Devers trade now just because he had a bad month of April, which he always has a bad month of April. And it's like, man, it's weird that all those people aren't doing their victory laps now that he's predictably not sucking anymore. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. Max Carlson, 4 innings, 4 hits, no runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts. And then Cooper Adams, 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, picked up a save. I think he was like the Portland pitcher of the week or something like that. Like it was just like they tweeted out the graphic. They tweeted, I don't remember if it was the pitcher of the week or the pitcher of the game, but it had to be the pitcher of the week because they posted the graphic and it was like 5 innings, which wouldn't make sense because he pitched twice. So, and then obviously the other one we have to talk about, Anthony Ianson, 4 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, gave up a homer, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. So mixed bag. The 3 runs is the most runs he's given up in a start. Before that, the most runs he had given up in a start was 1, which he had done twice. Every other start was 0 runs because he's a freak of nature. The 2 walks was the second most he's ever given up in a start, again, because he's a freak of nature. But the 8 strikeouts was the second most he's ever gotten in a start. It was the most he's ever gotten in a AA start. And then the 3 hits he's given up is tied for the most he's ever given up in a start, again, because he's a freak. So like definitely not bad, obviously, but like also not the sharpest he's been. A lot of really, really, really bad swings that he was getting. Like he looked absolutely disgusting. It's really fun to watch Anthony Ianson starts when Portland is not home because every opposing broadcast is like dumbfounded by how good he is. Like it's really fun to watch opposing broadcasts be like, oh my God, this guy is absurd. And like that's something I always give credit to minor league broadcasts is they're usually not like jaded about it. They're usually not like, oh, well, this guy's getting a lot of props, but so-and-so just hit a homer off of him, so he can't be that good. Like, no, they were like, oh, well, that was a really good piece of hitting by like someone hit a double off of him, and they were like, man, that was a really good pitch. That was just a good double. Like, there's really not much anything else he could have done on that pitch. And then it was just like, oh, his first strikeout of the game was on a curveball, and the Binghamton broadcaster called it dastardly, which was just a phenomenal thing to call it. And that was what most of his strikeouts were coming on was the breaking stuff. His home run came on a fastball, which admittedly was not a great pitch. Like he kind of just threw it right down the middle. And then the other runs came on, I believe he walked a guy. I think it was like walk. So it was a solo shot. And then I think it was a walk. And then it was a double that was like a very well hit, like props to the guy for hitting it. And then the next run, I think, came on. I think he gave up a leadoff walk in the top of the 5th, which I was shocked to see him come in the top of the 5th inning because he was already at like the highest pitch total he'd ever been at. And then he came out of the game, and Cade Feeney came in, and the guy ended up scoring on a sac fly. So there was a tiny chance he finished the game 4 innings, 2 runs, but it ended up being 4 innings, 3 runs. So again, not the sharpest he's ever been, but 8 strikeouts is really good. And really only 1 well hit ball against him, and everything else was, one really good piece of hitting, and everything else was mainly hitters looking really, really, really bad. So even Anthony Ionson's not best starts, he's dominating for the most part.
Yeah, and it's important to note because I know a lot of people, because not everybody watches every single minor league outing, but like Anthony Ionson's somebody that you should definitely keep tabs on every time he's pitching. Like especially if you're pissed off with the Red Sox, like everybody is. You definitely want to find a reason to have some joy, and anytime he pitches, it's at least a cause for optimism because you're watching somebody that's kind of like following a similar trajectory as Peyton Tolley did last year. Not to say that Ionson's going to be a big leaguer at some point this season, but you watch him pitch and you're like, that guy's going to be a contributor, if not at some point this year, at some point fairly soon into 2027. But like it's like a lot of people will box score watch. They'll see 4 innings, 3 earned. They're like, it was kind of so. But like, guys, this dude's less than a year removed from pitching in college. Maybe if he's a big leaguer, like they're going to push him into the 5th and the 6th inning, and then you're looking at 6 innings, 3 earned, and that's a quality start. But like these guys get babied a bit. And I'm not saying that like as an insult. They just don't go very deep into games. You're not seeing a whole lot of starts, even when they dominate, going 6, 7, 8 innings a pop. They're going 4, they're going 5, and like we'll talk about him when we get to Greenville. But like Witherspoon only went 5 innings in his start as well. So you look at certain things, you look at the shape of his pitches, you look at the velo, you look at the whiffs, you look at the total strikeouts, and you're like, yep, that dude's a stud. And Anthony Ionson, basically is the poster child for that in the Red Sox organization at this point.
Any other pitchers? Or anything you want to say on any pitchers?
I didn't have any other pitchers. I did want to give some props to Yohan Garcia hit a couple of home runs, and as somebody again with the Red Sox, then nobody hits home runs except for Jarren Duran apparently. You got to give props to anybody who hits multiple home runs in a week. I know Yohan went 4 for 21, but he had a couple walks, drove in 5. Brooks Brandon was 5 for 20, but also walked 3 times, drove in 4 runs, just to give a couple shouts to some guys on offense.
Yeah, I am incredibly high. I will continue to shout to the rooftops how high I am on Yohan Garcia. I think the power is stupid legit. Like I think he could be a 30+ home run guy in the majors. Like once he's like fully matured and given some time in the like it's so terrifying. Like whenever he connects on one, everyone knows it's gone, and it's one of those things where like. Again, to give props to the Binghamton announcers, like he hit one, and the second he hit it, they were like, "Oh yeah, that's absolutely demolished," and he knows it, and everyone knows it, and like everybody can just watch that. That's destroyed. Yeah, Nate Baez 4 for 21, 2 doubles and a homer. It feels like he's been hitting a ton of doubles lately. I think he's quote unquote only got 12 this year, but it feels like most of them have come very recently. Franklin Arias 6 for 24 with a double and a homer. Will Turner 2 for 14 with a homer. Marvin Alcantara had a really good week, 7 for 22 with 3 doubles. He sneakily was one of the better hitters for the entire month of May for Portland. 267, 312, 442, 6 doubles, 3 homers, 7 for 7 on stolen base attempts. He's been really good for them over the last 2 weeks. He's on a 9-game hitting streak. And then Caden Rose went 5 for 14 with 2 RBIs and a steal. And Nelly Taylor went 5 for 17 with a double and 3 steals. He's been having a really rough go of it this year, but I've said it over the last couple of weeks. He has been slowly climbing, and it's been really good to see. Only up to 150, but the on-base percentage is up to 265. Recently snapped like a 13-game on-base streak, and I think, so he snapped the 13 base on game streak, and then since then he is on a 5-game hitting streak that includes only 5 hits, but he's also got a pair of walks in that time. He's stolen 3 bases in that time. He also made an incredible catch in right field where he like crashed. He made like a sliding crashing catch into the wall, which I mentioned in my prospect watch. I love the fact that like when you're slumping, especially in the minors, slumping at the plate, I wouldn't really blame someone if they kind of took it easy, not like gave up on defense, obviously, but if like, a foul ball, if you didn't dive into the wall, because it's like, if you're not, I should also say he's been hit by a pitch twice in that 5 games, so that's getting on base twice, 2 more times. But like if you're not hitting, it doesn't matter how good of defense you're playing. If you're not hitting the ball at all, you're not going to get a chance in the majors. So if you get hurt, the team's not going to be like, oh, well, he got hurt making a diving play. Good for him. Props, oh, well, when he gets back, we're going to call him up to AAA because he was helping out the team. And it's like, I wouldn't blame someone for being like, man, I'm struggling at the plate right now. I need to not dive for this ball and crash into the wall because I need to figure it out at the plate and start hitting so that I can get my numbers up and get a chance in AAA and hopefully make it to the majors soon. Like that kind of stuff, to me, that shows a lot of good character because he cares more about the team winning than getting the average up. And credit to him, he's been getting the average up and he's been hitting the ball really hard. And sometimes it hasn't equated to him getting hits, but I mean, he's been getting on base more lately. He's gotten a ton of steals lately. He leads the team with 15. He had 11 steals this month, which again shows like he entered the month hitting 94. At one point he was hitting 88 on May 3rd. Like 88, not 188 or anything, just 88. So the numbers have drastically climbed up. And love to see it because Nelly Taylor's one of the better guys in the organization. And yeah, just good to see that the hard playing, the good defense, the good base running, all that is climbing over to the offensive side of things.
Yeah, you learn a lot about a guy when he's struggling at the plate, especially. Just the willingness to sacrifice your body. Because, like you said, I mean, he can't fix his numbers if he's not playing, right? And you make a Herculean effort. You're sacrificing your body. You're potentially sacrificing playing time. And then, like again, with his standing in the organization, in AA. He misses time, somebody comes up and is really succeeding in AA. It's not necessarily like a given that when he comes back, like you said, he's just going to immediately go back into the starting lineup playing every single day. So like we both said, nice to see the effort hasn't waned, even if the performance at the plate hasn't been up to the standard that I'm sure he definitely holds himself to. But like too, when you get off to such a slow start, it takes forever to dig yourself out of that hole. Like we talk about it at the major league level, Caleb Durbin. Like he started 0 for 20, and he's not like he's going to be a guy who hits 40 home runs. It's going to take him forever to climb out of that hole. It's just a matter of time, and eventually the water will find its level, as the saying. I heard that so much during the Celtics season that it made me want to pull my eyes out, but it's true. I mean, water finds its level at some point, and eventually the numbers are what they are. Do you have anybody else for Portland, or are you ready to go down to Greenville?
I'm good.
Alrighty.
Wherever you want to start.
All right, because I'm not going to start with the ASU guy, as I'm going to be off character. No, I'm going to be off character. I'm going to start with the U of A guy because Mason White had a fantastic week, and again, it doesn't make me sick as a Red Sox fan, but like as a U of A guy ASU guy giving a U of A guy props. I might get my degree taken away from me. But Mason White had a fantastic week, 10 for 22, had a home run, 2 doubles, 5 walks, drove in 5 runs. He's been awesome this year and is fantastic up the middle. So like as much credit as Craig Breslow gets from a draft, like as much grief as Craig Breslow gets, let me make that clear first. At the major league level, his drafting has actually been pretty damn impressive. And not just on the pitching side of things, because he's got guys like Godbout, he's got guys like Mason White. He identified guys like in the Vaughn Grissom trade with Isaiah Jackson, got to get my ASU guy in there, and the Luke Heyman as well. Like he's identifying offensive like position players at the minor league level as well. I know it doesn't do the Boston Red Sox any good, but like eventually it will, right? Like as much grief as Chaim Bloom got for his performance at the major league level, the Red Sox have Roman Anthony, they have Marcelo Meyer, they have Christian Campbell, they have other guys that wouldn't otherwise be here if not for Chaim and his scouting department. Mason White was fantastic this week, and I think overall his OPS is like hovering around 900 this year, and he's been playing plus defense at second base, and like I'm not like the biggest defensive like minded individual when it comes to like player evaluation, but you really want to be sharp up the middle. If you can get a plus defender at second base and one that hits for power, like you've got yourself a pretty damn good player there. Not to say that Mason White's like a lock to be a Boston Red Sox contributor in short order, but like there's a reason to be excited about him. And I think I don't remember what round he got taken in. I know it wasn't an early round. I think it was like
fourth.
The 8th round. It was the 4th round. Why do I remember?
He was technically the 5th pick.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah,
Marcus Phillips was like
right. Officially
second overall pick for the team.
Right. Officially 118th overall, but he's slashing 299, 386, 569.
Yeah, that's a 955 OPS. That's
hefty. And like he's a 5'11" second baseman. Like you don't get a whole lot of power typically out of dudes who are not 6 feet or taller, and you don't really get a whole lot of power out of second base. And he's providing both. And it's been very impressive and somebody that I've been keeping tabs on closer than I thought when the Red Sox drafted him, because I was really big on the Godbout draft pick. That I was like, I'm going to focus all my attention on Henry Godbout. But Mason White's stolen a lot of that attention.
Yeah, we when you just mentioned Godbout, and when Godbout got taken, I feel like a lot of people when Godbout got taken.
I think you're right the first time.
When the Red Sox selected Henry Godbout,
there we go.
A lot of people talked about the wonders the Red Sox and Driveline could do with his swing, blah blah blah. The wonders the Red Sox have done with Mason White's swing, because dear Lord, just go. I implore you to go watch one Mason White swing. That is like handpicked to be perfectly used by Driveline. Like that is like exactly the kind of swing that they're probably like, we can make this a home run swing. And that is exactly what they've done. Like that is a beautifully violent swing for like, hey, we can generate power out of this swing. And they have done just that. Dude's got 8 doubles, a triple, 9 homers. Now, granted, I believe that triple was like a lost in the sun, dropped in front of the right fielder, and he sprinted for a triple. Not exactly the Yoferi Rodriguez dropped in the infield double the other day, but still, everybody gets some of those. Jarren Duran had a double a couple weeks ago that was dropped between the second baseman and the right fielder. PCA for the Cubs had one a couple weeks ago that was dropped by the center fielder that counted as a double. It happens to everybody. Everybody gets some of those. You also get plays where you should have had a homer and it gets robbed or whatever. So it all evens out. Baseball gods given, the baseball gods take away. But yeah, to Mason White's been pretty good all year, pretty phenomenal all year, but his month of May specifically has been bananas. So you already mentioned like his season stats, but in May, 342, 425, 618. Just doing some quick math, that is a 1,043 OPS. That is stupid. Like for an entire month. I do my monthly minor league awards every month. Obviously, I do my minor league awards every month is probably how I should have worded that. Admittedly, I did not do them in April because I'm an idiot and I completely forgot about them. But I did them all last year. And somehow he only came in second place. It was really tough, but I ended up giving it to the guy I'm going to talk about now, and someone we mentioned when Andy was on, Jack Winay. And genuinely, he might have won it because on Sunday he went 2 for 3 with 2 homers and a walk. And that might have been the thing that put him over the top. But so this week, he didn't have the best week this week. He went 3 for 15 with 2 homers. He did walk 7 times compared to 5 strikeouts. But he in the month of May, Jacqueline hit 290 with a 490 on base percentage. He got on base 49% of the time. That's Barry Bonds numbers with a 620 slugging percentage. So that's a well over 1,000. That's a 1.113 OPS. That's ridiculous. On the year, 243, 435, 443 slash line, 4 doubles, 8 homers, 23 RBIs. He has 43 walks compared to 43 strikeouts. 43 walks compared to 43 strikeouts is stupid. Just to walk more times than you strike out is already ridiculous. But to walk 43 times through the first 2 months of the season is, to throw out his name again is Barry Bonds like. And he's doing it as someone who isn't some like otherworldly hitter where like teams are absolutely terrified of him. Like, he's just doing it because he's got that good of an eye and he fights off pitches and he has just these really good at bats. Like he'll work a 10 pitch at bat and draw the walk, or like he's that good at drawing walks. And like he's doing it in a really good lineup where, again, it's not like he is the big heavy hitter in the lineup and teams are like, oh, well, Jack Winay's coming up, so we'll pitch to everyone else and then work around him. It's like, no, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm not saying like anything bad about him, but it's like you're not working around Jack Winay to get to Justin Gonzalez or Henry Godbout or Luke Heyman or Isaiah Jackson or Mason White or Andy Azakar don't get me wrong, you're also not working around any of them to get to Jack Winay. But my point is, all of these guys are scary, so you're not working around anyone. You're pitching to them. So it's just like he might not be the most exciting at bat. Like if you want to have the most fun watching an at bat, you probably want to watch Justin Gonzalez in the lineup because he's the guy who's probably going to hit a ball 975 feet. But like if you want to watch the most like baseball at bat, like if you're like an old head who just wants to watch like this is real baseball, like watch Jack Winay and just like enjoy baseball for 5 minutes and just be like, that was a damn good at bat, man. Like he's not going to give you like a, wow, he just swung it 3 straight curveballs in the dirt. That was pathetic. And now I'm mad and don't want to watch baseball the rest of the day. Like he's going to give you a really good at bat and you're going to walk away being like, all right, that was, not everybody swings at garbage. And he, even when he was struggling, like at the beginning of the year, that was like when he first started to heat up, that was what we were talking about, was like, man, props to Jack Winay for kind of forcing Greenville to keep him in the lineup daily, because he was hitting 180, but he had a 380 on base percentage and he was still working, 9 pitch at bats because he was still drawing walks and he was still doing all the right things. It just, things weren't clicking for him yet. So like the process stayed the same. And now things are just clicking and everything's coming together. So it's been really fun to watch things turn around for him because, again, nothing's changed outside of now he's just absolutely demolishing baseballs.
Yeah, and another later round Craig Breslow draft pick. I know that once you get past like the first couple, it's not like we're gonna give Breslow props for it. It's on the scouting department, but like again, another position player in a draft full of like the pitching talent that we've been talking about. That's having a really, really good first full season in pro ball. I don't have any other. Well, I mean, I guess we could talk about Andy Azakar as well. His first week in Greenville, he had a really nice first week. I know it wasn't like crazy, like 6 for 21, nothing crazy, but he had 2 triples, a home run, and 6 runs batted in. I know that he's kind of taking the local fan base by storm at this point. He's kind of like, I've seen some people say that maybe this is like the 2023 Roman, where it's like he comes out of nowhere. I mean, Roman was like a second round pick or like a comp pick, so it wasn't like he was a a complete unknown. But the ascension from as far as like well, we're not really paying a whole lot of attention to him. To oh my God, this dude's suddenly a top 10 prospect in the Red Sox organization. He's been fantastic, and his first week showed exactly why he's been getting a lot of that praise recently. And then, like I said, Isaiah Jackson, got to get my ASU guy in there. He did only go 5 for 24, but did have a home run and 3 walks, and just it's always fun to keep tabs on an ASU guy. It's always fun when they're in my organization, and I'll have to watch Angels minor league baseball I mean, he didn't play for the Angels minor league team last year, but I don't have to watch Angels minor league ball to keep tabs on a player that I really was watching in college.
And he had another web gem this week. He's had a lot of those.
Obviously,
a ton of those.
Obviously, yeah. He's a freak out there. It's like it will not be the last. Every web gem, there will be at least one more.
Yeah, so, and shout out to Azakar, who so in the first inning of, I think it was like the second game he played, he just caught like a routine fly ball, but then threw a guy out trying to get to second, so he had a double play, and then had an over-the-shoulder jumping catch on the very next play, and then in his first at-bat in the first inning, hit a triple. So, like, just an absurd first inning for him. And then, yeah, he had his homer was a grand slam. Luke Heyman, his first 2 high-A at-bats were home runs. So, absurd start to Luke Heyman's high-A career. He ended the week 5 for 17, so that's a 297, 294 batting average. 2 homers and a triple. He did strike out 7 times, but you're going to probably see a lot of strikeouts with Luke Heyman, but you're also going to see him he's probably going to hit a ton of home runs in Greenville. I can see him being I don't know what they call the green monster there, a monster merchant, I'll just say. But he seems like someone who is going to have a lot of fun hitting the monster there. Justin Gonzalez only played in 4 games this week, but he hit a homer. He's been slumping a little bit, but I mean, I'm about as unworried about Justin Gonzalez slumping as you could possibly be. Ronnie Hernandez seems like someone who is going to suffer from Luke Heyman being there. I feel like his playing time is going to drastically decline. Adonis Guzman got sent down to single A, and it seems like Ronnie Hernandez is now going to be the barely plays guy, but he played 1 game and went 3 for 4 with a double, a homer, and 5 RBIs. Like, I don't know, maybe he'll play himself into a little bit more playing time. And then Henry Godbout, 4 for 12, a double, a homer, 3 RBIs, 4 walks, no strikeouts. Fraley Encarnacion, 4 for 10, a double, 5 walks and no strikeouts. He's having a really strange year. I know we talked about him a tiny bit when Andy was on, just like he talked about the insane bat speed. 238, 351 on base, 452 slug, 17 walks, 37 strikeouts. So, like, his career high in walks is 25, and it was last year. Like, historically, just really bad walk rates and usually a really high strikeout rate. This year, the walk rate is significantly up. But, like, if you look, like, shout out to TJ Stats, if you look at his like out of zone swing rate, it's still like absurdly bad, like 4th percentile. And it's like he's still chasing. Like, if you watch at bats, nothing's really changed. It's just, I think he's just getting some like really uncompetitive pitches sometimes where it's like, yeah, like I wouldn't swing at that. So it's just, I don't know. It's working for him right now. Don't get me wrong. There's some times where it's like, hey, that's a really good pitch to lay off. Like there are some times where it's like, all right, that's improvement. So it's just like, I don't know. I mean, right now you can't complain. He's having a really good year, 803 OPS. He's made some phenomenal plays at third base. And like the bat speed is great. There's a lot to like about Fraley Encarnacion. But it's just like, I just don't know if the walk rate, 5 walks to 0 strikeouts. If he wants to do that more often, I'm going to not talk about the out of zone strike percentage because whatever, clearly it's working. So I'll shut up. But I'm intrigued by that because it's a weird anomaly for like the numbers to not match up with the percentages. But whatever, it worked for him this week. So and then Yoelin Cespedes, 7 for 21, a double and a homer. He's just been like he was getting talked about a ton. And then I feel like, Luke Heyman came there. He hit the 2 homers. Andy Sadoski has been a freak. Mason White's been on fire. Franklin Arias, I feel like so much has been going on, and I feel like Yoelis Cespedes maybe isn't getting the love he was getting earlier in the year, and it's just like he's only 20. It's his first year in single A or in high A. He's hitting 317. He's got a 567 slug. He's already got 15 doubles. He quote unquote only hit 24 last year. He's got 10 homers, which ties his total from last year, which was a career high. He's got 34 RBIs, which is only 20 off his number from last year. Like, this was a dude who was a top 100 prospect 2 years ago. Like, he completely fell off a cliff last year because he struggled mightily in single A. But like, he's only 5'8", but he is a middle infielder who has like very legitimate power potential. Like, there's a world where he becomes a very, very, very legitimate prospect again. And I feel like the world, and like maybe not Red Sox fans in general, but I just feel like the world maybe isn't talking about him enough, as much as they should be. I'm not saying he should be getting talked about in top 100 talks again, but I just feel like there should be a little bit of hype around Yoelis. Like, he's hitting the piss out of baseballs. He's looked solid defensively, not like some like freak or anything, but he's looked good enough defensively, especially at second base. Like, for someone who was semi-recently a top 100 prospect, I just feel like having this kind of a year as a 20-year-old in high A should be getting him a little bit more love than it is. Like, this is a guy who is the same age as a lot of these guys. That and like he's a year older than Justin Gonzalez, and he has better counting stats. I'm not saying he is the same prospect as Justin Gonzalez. I'm just saying, like, you'd think that they'd be like, oh man, this guy on the same team as him is putting up numbers. Maybe we should mention him a little bit. I feel like he's not getting some love that he maybe deserves.
I will say, Keith Law pops up on my For You page on TikTok from time to time, and he has started to bring some attention back to Yoelis Cespedes. I know.
Keith Law.
He mentioned that he was there to watch, I think it was Witherspoon's, not this past start, but last week. He watched Witherspoon start, and he said that Yoelis Cespedes looks like the top 100 Yoelis Cespedes again. So I don't think he made Keith Law's updated top 100, but at least he is getting some recognition on the national level for the production he is putting forth in 2026. He's been fantastic, and I know a lot of Red Sox fans, because again, they box score watch because they don't. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day to watch. Some of these players, they look at the numbers and they're like, oh, this guy was a flash in the pan. And I guess maybe because of what happened with Miguel Blaze, which I know some of it is injury related, but like, you see a guy dominate, get some top 100 helium, then fall off, get hurt, and you never hear from him again. I mean, it's something you don't hear from Miguel Blaze anymore, but he hasn't returned to that status yet. So you kind of forget about the guy. And then somebody like Franklin Arias becomes not only like clearly the better prospect, because the two of them were like neck and neck for a little bit, but now like I think Keith Law has him like third. Like, he's very high up there. I know TJ Stats has him very high up there as well. So like, just by nature or by extension, he's not as renowned, but he definitely is deserving of it and starting to get some attention for his production as well, which is good.
Yeah. And that's my and I like Keith Law, but that's always my big issue with, like, and I've said this before, that's always my big issue with like the national outlets for prospects, and that's why I'm so happy that the Red Sox have Sox prospects and like, he's admitted it before. I'm pretty sure it was Wickelman Gonzalez, and I know I've talked about this before on here, so I apologize to everyone, but like, he was super low on Wickelman Gonzalez at the time, and then he like went to a Wickelman Gonzalez start, and he was like, I didn't know he had a curveball. It was disgusting. And it was like, this is my issue, and it's not his fault. He works super hard, like he's covering every single team.
Yeah, it's like an impossible
it's a
job.
Super hard job, but it's like, how am I supposed to trust someone's evaluation? And it's like, you didn't even know one of the top pitching prospects in a system had a curveball. Like, and again, not his fault. He's trying to cover literally thousands of players at the same time.
Yeah.
But Wikelman Gonzalez was like the Red Sox number 2 pitching prospect at the time, and like the number 4 prospect in the system, and you didn't know about his literal best pitch. Like, why am I supposed to trust your evaluation on someone?
Yeah, and I understand that like people who watch these players will have different opinions of guys who like because a lot of these guys will base it off of how they talk with scouts and how they'll read stuff, they'll watch film, and they'll look at like the measure like their build and stuff, and like there's a lot that goes into ranking these prospects on the national level. It's like you said, it's an impossible job, but like yeah, he showed up to watch Kyson Witherspoon pitch and realized that Yoel Cespedes is a freak again.
Yeah. And I should say, I'm pretty sure it was Keith Law. There's a tiny chance it was one of the other guys, but I don't want to put that on Keith Law and then have it not have been Keith Law. But I'm like 95% sure it was Keith Law because he's the biggest of the like national media prospect guys.
But I will say it's always fun when maybe not fun. I mean, I'm sure it's not fun for them, but like when people will rip these guys for like their rankings, like their job isn't insanely difficult.
Yeah, and that's why like I'm not like ripping them. I'm always like yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I will never take their thing for gospel on like I'll use them as a tool on other teams, but if you're asking me about like a Red Sox prospect, I'm going to Sox prospect, or I'll talk to a Red Sox scout or something before I like if you're asking me something about Franklin Arias and I don't have the answer myself, I'm like, go to Sox prospects, man. Like
they watch these guys every single day, so
yeah.
their words should be taken as gospel at that point.
No other team has that. Like it's
right, which is crazy. Still, like I understand. Like we've had this conversation many times. Nobody else has like taken the initiative to be like, I'm gonna start this.
Yeah, that feels like a money train, man.
Yeah, like, and it's not just like I know that like Tyler Milliken brought it up. I don't know if it was on Section 10 or when he was on here. I think both, honestly. Where he's like, I was looking at like Pirates prospects, and that just didn't exist, and it still doesn't exist. Like, why? Like, I might start it, and I don't.
Yeah, you're telling me other fan bases don't have like freaks like us? Like, you're telling me no other fan bases like, oh man, I'm intrigued I know for a fact they do, because every other fan base has people that know their prospects.
Yeah. I mean, for some fan bases that they need it to like keep themselves breathing. Cause like you're telling me a Rockies fan, I mean, maybe not this year, cause the Rockies are like pseudo fun,
but the Pirates is a perfect one. Cause I mean, again, they're not terrible right now, but Pirates have been ass for the last 15 years. You're telling me they haven't been desperately clinging on to the Paul Skeens and Bubba Chandlers of the world for the last 15 years.
Yeah, they've been churning out pitchers left and right for like they secretly have had like one of the best pitching factories in the sport. Now Paul Skeens is an outlier because he's a freak and went 1st overall in the draft. So like
Garrett Cole.
Yeah, like guys like that. Obviously, you're not going to give like the pitching lab a whole lot of credit for those guys, but like Jared Jones and Bubba Chandler and Carmen. I know he's kind of falling out of favor over there, but Carmen Majinski.
Yeah, that's a weird situation.
Yeah, like I don't know what's going on over there, but like not just him, but like Braxton Ashcraft, like they're pumping out starting pitchers, and then you look and there's just nobody keeping track of these guys over there. You're just relying fully on the national guys. Maybe the money's in that. Maybe that's what the $1 million idea is, like starting Rockies prospects and just seeing if anybody reads that.
We might have to look into this.
Yeah,
we'll know dick all about it, but we'll just.
Yeah, we're gonna source Kate because she's the resident. No, she's not a Rockies fan, but she's from there, so I'm gonna use her.
Yeah, let's get Kate involved. We'll figure this out.
Yeah, we'll get this. We'll
going. Message her right now, and we'll
top 30 Rockies prospects coming soon. Don't hold me to how soon, but it's coming soon.
Yeah, we'll start workshopping a name. We'll figure this out.
By 2030, I promise.
Pitchers,
yeah.
Pitchers?
Yeah, may as well get into it. Before we talk about, again, the top dog down there, want to give shout out to Friend of the program, Jojo Ingracia, made his first appearance in a month. 2 innings, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. Big fan of his. I remember last year, because last year at this time, or maybe it was earlier in the 2025 season, I'd never heard of him, like admittedly. And then I looked at like the where the Red Sox, like some of the Red Sox strikeout leaders, and he was like 20 innings deep and had like 18 Ks per 9, which is just ridiculous. And he's still keeping that strikeout proficiency. It's just been a little bit more scattered because of the injury issues he's had. But nice to see him come back, have a solid first outing back. Again, first, I think, since April 28th. So nice to see him get back out there and doing his thing, because he's a solid arm. And I don't want to say that like he'll be in Portland by a certain time, but like a guy that I've been keeping tabs on since early last season, and it's not like he's really struggled at all. It's just been keeping himself on the field.
Yeah, he is. He's got the Blake Wehunt vibes of, damn dude, just stay healthy, because every time he's on the mound, you see it. It's like you said, the K per 9 is absurd. The stuff is nasty. He doesn't have the Blake Wehunt of being super imposing on the mound. Like, he's not a massive human being. He's not hitting 99 on the mound, but his stuff is gross. Like, he's got good stuff, and he picks up the Ks. He has never really had like massive walk problems. And it's just, he's never really been able to stick on the mound all season. And it's just, if he could string it together for a super long time, I'd love to see how much he could move up. 2024, he was pretty healthy most of the year. He was kind of split in time between starting and bullpen. And he was in single A. He was 58 innings, 58 and a third innings. I think that was the year we talked to him. I think it was 2024.
Yeah, it was 24. It wasn't last year.
And like, he was really good that year. 93 strikeouts compared to only 20 walks in 58 and a third innings. Sub 1 whip. And last year he only got 17 innings in High-A. And that was his whole season. 4 walks compared to 21 strikeouts. 3.18 ERA. Sub 2 batting average against. 8.2 whip. Like, fantastic numbers. This year he's got a sub 2 ERA, a 1.7 batting average against. Like, the numbers are good. He's just not healthy. He's just, like you said, the innings are scattered. So just stay healthy, man. And the numbers are going to be there because you're good. So, and there's never not a demand for left-handed pitching. Like, teams always want left-handed pitching. So stay healthy, please.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw this offseason, like, the kind of trade packages the lefty relievers were getting. Like, if you are a lefty and you can throw strikes and you can miss bats, you have got a very very bright future in this sport. And it's just a matter of staying healthy for him.
Yeah.
I also had Dylan Brown down as an arm to talk about. 4 1/3, 4 hits, 1 run, unearned, 3 walks, 9 Ks. I mean, 9 Ks and 4 1/3 is just crazy. No matter the level you're at. I mean, missing bats at that level is pretty nuts. And then the only other arm I had was Kyson Witherspoon, but I don't know if you have anybody else first.
Yeah, Dylan Brown's been awesome. This was definitely his best start since going up to High-A, but he really hasn't had any like dreadful starts since getting there. But this was his first, I guess technically not scoreless outing, but his first outing since moving up without giving up an earned run. And also a career high in strikeouts for him. His previous high was 8, and that was in single A. I don't know what round he was. He was a 2025 draft pick. Old Dominion, 8th round draft pick. Who else was from Old Dominion? Noah Dean was Old Dominion, but I feel like another guy was from Old Dominion. And then, Devin Futrell, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 6 strikeouts with no walks. Ben Hansen, 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, no runs. PJ Labriola, 4 and 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run, no earned, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Those were all guys that Andy mentioned this week. And then Brandon Neely has struggled pretty heavily since coming back. He's been dealing with a ton of injuries. He was a 2024 draft pick, and this is his first time pitching. But he had his best week this year. 1 1/3 over two appearances, no hits, no walks, no runs, 1 strikeout. Over 18 innings this year in 9 appearances. He's got a 10 ERA, so this was pretty desperately needed. So in his first appearance, he went 2 perfect innings, 5 strikeouts, and in the next 6 appearances, he went 1 run, 3 runs, 6 runs, 3 runs, 5 runs, 4 runs, 2 earned. And then his last 2 outings was 1 inning, no runs, and 1/3 of an inning, no runs. So just good to see him get 2 straight scoreless outings, even if they were both pretty brief. Hopefully that's just something he can build on, because very talented arm. Like, this was a 3rd round pick out of Florida back in 2024. And it's just like, he missed it. Like, he hasn't pitched in 2 years, man. Like, it's not surprising that he's struggling pretty hard. And like, it's a very short sample size. Wouldn't be shocked if by the end of the year, this is all in the rearview mirror and we're not even thinking about it. And then just can't even call it an outing, but just something to keep an eye on. Austin Ehrlicher, technically, like, has a stat line, but didn't pitch. He appeared in a game, but was taken out before he threw a pitch. Don't know what happened, but like, he started to like warm up, and then the inning started, and like the batter stepped in, and the pitch clock started, and then the trainers came out, and he was taken out of the game. So don't know what happened there. Obviously, it was an injury, but don't know what the injury was. So hopefully everything's good there. And then I guess Kyson Witherspoon time.
Yeah, he had a very nice outing, and we talked a little bit about it with Andy. Like, they've been reworking with his mechanics a little bit. He said getting a little bit more athletic, being a little bit freer, and it's shown the last couple of times out. Again, it's easy to box score watch when you're not watching these guys pitch live. But he's been impressive his last couple times out. And a reminder, this guy was a 1st-round pick for a reason. Like, this dude's a stud, and you know, he may not be ascending quite like Anthony Einstein. That's another reason why Kyson's been getting a whole lot of flack, is because he's not ascending like Einstein, because that was the whole thing when he got drafted. It was like, this guy's going to be a fast riser. We could see him in the bigs like by September of 2026. And it ended up being Einstein that was the guy that was the fast riser. I mean, I guess he's only in AA at this point, but he looks more like that guy to this point. But he looked really good in this outing from what I saw. 4 strikeouts. So he's not like he's crazy missing bats. The walks are still something of an issue, but he's limiting hits. He's not giving up runs. The last couple times out, he's been really good, and it's a cause for optimism, because you know the struggles were definitely there early on, and I know a lot of people were like, "Oh no, they drafted." I saw somebody refer to it as a lemon, which I think is ridiculous, because again, like, this is a dude who was in college last year, and he was a 1st-round pick for a reason. So he's really
no,
turned
dude.
it
You
on
can
lately.
definitely write someone off after 30 innings in the minors.
Yeah,
That's definitely how it works.
People need to relax. But not everyone's going to come over and be Peyton Tolley. Like, we have to understand that certain guys are anomalies. Like, even like 1st-round picks can be anomalies. Tolley was a 2nd rounder, but like the concept of getting drafted in the 1st round and then being a big leaguer like immediately is still kind of insane. Right. So like, there's going to be a learning curve at every single level he's at, and he seems to have figured it out lately. And it's nice to see it being put into actual, like, tangible results on the field. I'm sure
one of my
it feels good for
favorite
him
things about drafting a project is that it tempers expectations. Like, obviously it's not great for the team at the moment, but then fans are like, okay, he's a project, and at least the average fan isn't like expecting him to be a god 5 weeks into his career. Some fans still are, but because like you said, fans were literally expecting Kyson Witherspoon to like already be where Anthony Einstein is now, which is just an unfair expectation.
Yeah, like, and the fact that Einstein's doing it too is like a blessing. Like, it's
Yeah.
not, again, it's not normal. Not everybody shows up to their first level of minor league ball and is just like clearly like too good for that level. There's an adjustment there. Like, and it took, a month for Witherspoon. We're seeing, kind of a little bit of a wall for Marcus Phillips as well. But like, these guys are super talented. Even if they don't put it together in 2026, like, these guys are we're super talented. It's not like every guy that struggles year one in pro ball is freaking Trey Ball. Like, they're they'll put it together. They're talented enough, and they work hard, and they seem to have the right mindset. We've talked to a couple of them, so
Yeah.
we know these guys, or you guys know these guys.
Over his last 2 starts, 9 1/3, 5 hits, 1 run, 5 walks, 10 strikeouts. This start I don't think was as clean as the last one. Not as many whiffs. He had 8 this time. I think he had like 18 his last time out or something crazy like that. Really no like hard hit balls though. That was like obviously he gave up a homer in his last outing. This time there really wasn't anything that was like crushed. Also, he's getting squeezed a little bit. There was a really funny play where you could tell, I think him and I can't think of who was Gerardo Rodriguez, I think, was catching. You could tell they were both a little frustrated with the umpire because there was like 2 straight calls where they both looked like pretty clear strikes that got called balls. And Rodriguez went to throw out the runner on second, and he clearly threw him out, but he got called safe because it was called ball 4. But the runner didn't realize that it was called ball 4, probably because it was such a clear strike. So the runner then started to leave and was like going back to the dugout. So then they just tug him out because he left the base. So he got called out anyway. So it was a very strange play that I don't think I've ever seen before. But like, so there was a couple, like, then another base runner got thrown out. There was like a double play later. Like someone got thrown out on the base pass. Like there was a couple like strange, like helpful, like helping Witherspoon get out of innings. So like, I don't think it was like his cleanest start, but he also helped himself by like, he was not giving up hard hit balls. Again, 3 walks, but he was getting squeezed. I felt like he was locating pretty well most of the time. He wasn't getting the whiffs he was getting the last time out, but the location felt better. And just putting together, this is what I said after his last start was it felt like this could be a good turning point for him. And what I said last week was do it again. And he did it again. And it's like, now we have back-to-back good Kyson Witherspoon starts. And now hopefully people can shut up, like I just said 2 minutes ago, judging someone after 30 innings is absurd. Like now he's at what, 35 2/3 inning. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a 5.55 ERA is great. I'm sure he would sit here and not tell you that a 5.55 ERA is great, but like he's still only at 35 2/3 innings. It took him 9 1/3 innings to drop his ERA from a 7.18 to a 5.55. Like that's how quick it went to drop 1.63 points. Like it goes quick, man. It drops quick. So give him some time. Clearly he's talented. I've said it every week. Watch a game of his, and even when he's struggling, you will see some at-bats where it's like, my God. Like that was a disgusting at-bat where every pitch was filthy. Like there's such clear arm talent there. I'm not worried a single moment. It's really good to see him put together back-to-back starts like this. And yeah, it's big positives. And yeah, every Red Sox fan should be very happy with the progression of Kyson Witherspoon. And if you're not, you're looking for things to be negative about because.
And there's plenty of things to be negative about with the MLB team. You don't have to take it out. You don't have to take it out on the farm system. And like, again, like the results aren't everything. Because again, some of it is just a matter of we're going to have you throw this pitch way more than you're accustomed to this outing because we really want you to work on this pitch or in this specific count. Like instead of 1-0, you're going to throw a get me over curveball so you can get a feel for the breaking ball instead of at 100% being a fastball. And if you're working on your curveball, there's a chance you're going to yank that curveball, and then you're down 2-0, and then you put yourself behind the 8 ball. Like it's again, development is not always linear, and it's not. Signs of development aren't always showcased through a pitcher's ERA. Like a dude with a 0 ERA right now could have just as much, if not more, to work on than Kyson Witherspoon at a 5.5. Maybe not a 0, but like you know what I mean. If you have a 0 ERA 35 innings in, you're probably not in high A anymore.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into the development, especially of pitchers, because like you said, there's so many things that they're having them work on. They're working on new pitchers, and Red Sox fans especially have been spoiled. We talk about it every week, where it's like there was the ascension of Roman Anthony and the ascension of Yastinson Garcia and Christian Campbell and Cedar Rafaela, and it keeps happening to the Red Sox and Peyton Tolley, and it's like this doesn't usually happen, and now Anthony Ionson's doing it, and it's gotten to a point where Red Sox fans like expect it to happen, and like with Ionson, it's like he doesn't really have a weakness, so like if the Red Sox are doing that with him, it's like they might be telling him like, hey, we want you to throw your curveball every time there's a 2-strike count. His curveball is disgusting. So,
yeah. So like he's
with
like,
him, he's
you.
probably like, cool, I'll throw my curveball and strike him out. If they're telling Witherspoon like, hey, throw this pitch, maybe whatever pitch it is, it's like, that's not my best pitch and that's not going to work, and it's just different people have different strengths and weaknesses, and whatever's working for one guy might not be working for another, and they're trying to find the best things for each person, and at some point they're going to find the things that click for each person, and clearly they're starting to find the things that are clicking for Witherspoon, and we're seeing it over the last 2 starts, and I think it's going to start to get very fun with Witherspoon very soon, and it's going to become a thing where people are getting very, very excited. And I feel like even in the struggles, don't get me wrong, there's been negative people, but in the struggles, there's still been a lot of people that get very excited for Kyson Witherspoon starts. And it's been warranted because again, he really hasn't had any like, dear Lord, that was disastrous starts. It's just been like that wasn't the best.
Yeah, and as much as the baseball and pitching is so analytical now, like the actual act of pitching is just as much physical and mental, because like if you were throwing a pitch that isn't your best pitch, you're not going to be like, oh my God, yeah, my changeup, which opponents crushed in college. I'm not saying that that's what the case with Witherspoon was, just using it as an example. Like I know that's not my best pitch. I'm not as confident throwing it. So like there's part of it that's like getting the tangible results, and there's part of it that he has to actually like believe that pitch can be executed in that spot. And I'm not saying that that's what's happening with Witherspoon specifically. I'm just using that as an example that like they've got to like believe in the pitch and then execute the pitch and then also get the tangible result on top of it all. So that's why like with the development side of things, as much as we could look at the numbers and they are what they are, there's so much more under the surface that people are not accounting for. And again, it's just nice to see him have a couple nice outings in a row, so then maybe he can continue to build off of it. And then we can talk in August if he's, on the cusp of AAA, and it's like, well, see how funny it was that people were writing him off in April. Now he is a fast riser, like people had expected. And I'm not saying if he isn't, it's a failure, but just saying, if he builds off of a couple strong outings, the Red Sox are showing that they're willing to accelerate a pitcher's development.
Salem?
Yeah. I admittedly do not have a lot on Salem. I don't know if you want to take the reins there, if you've got more. But I only had a couple of arms and a couple of bats highlighted for me. But I can, yeah.
I don't have too much on Salem either. It was a kind of strange week for them. Offensively, it was kind of like a two-man show, if we're being honest. Starlin Nunez is just he's a fun watch. I get it because Greenville's so stacked, but he was a guy who I was kind of shocked. Admittedly, I was clearly very wrong. I thought he would start in high A and that Cespedes would start in single A because Cespedes struggled so much Cespedes had a sub .300 on base percentage last year. Now, to be fair, I think Nunez had like a .309 on base or like a .310 on base percentage last year. But Cespedes had like a .290, and just like it was a struggle for him. And I just thought that they would maybe flip those two. But Nunez was kind of like the spark plug of the team last year. 5 for 17, 2 doubles, 2 homers, both in the same game. I'm pretty sure that's his first multi-hit game. I think he only had like 8 homers last year, so I'd be shocked if he had a multi-homer game last year. He did have 10 triples last year, which does he have any? Yeah, okay, he's got 3 this year. Wow, I'm an idiot. So, and then I think he also had a steal this week. Yeah, and he had a steal this week. So 247, 325, 448 slug, 8 doubles, 3 triples, 7 homers, 11 steals already. He had 21 last year. He's one of the more fun players to watch who like isn't a big name, if that makes any sense. Like he's not going to ever be some like superstar prospect, but he's always going to be. He kind of reminds me of like an Andy Lugo, where I don't think he's ever going to be like a headline prospect. I don't think he's ever going to be just the Red Sox farm system's just too stacked. Maybe in a farm system that was like pretty low on big names, he would be someone that like would get kind of hyped up, but
he'd be high on Rockies prospects top 30.
There you go. Like, and actually, I think he would probably be very fun in a couple years on the Rockies, just as a guy who is super fast and has enough power where I could see him becoming like a 30-30 guy for the Rockies and then going somewhere else and all of a sudden hitting like 12 homers and everybody's like, oh, but anyway, so he had another fun week. And then a friend of the show, Andrew Zapata, slumped for a little bit, but had another really good week. 5 for 16, had a double, drove in a run, 2 walks, stole 3 more bases. He is tied for the organizational lead with Braden Ward. He's got 24 steals on the year. He's only hitting 246, but he has a 386 on base percentage. 6 doubles, 2 triples, 3 homers. Like I said, 24 steals, only been caught 4 times. He's got 30 walks. He's played really good defense. He's got really good pop, but it's just one of those things where Salem kind of robs you of a lot of homers. Like he's had a lot of those like laser annoying Salem singles where it's like he hit the ball way too hard off the wall, off like the top of the Salem wall, and it's like, man, anywhere else that's a homer, but he hit it so hard that it's just a single, and or like maybe a double because he's fast enough, but usually a single. So he's someone I would like to see get up to Greenville and just see what he could do at that park. Although he might be getting robbed of a lot of homers with the monster there too, but I could also see him getting a lot of big shots there. But yeah, he's another good week for him. So good to see him turning things around again.
Yeah, I had Opata as well on my list of players. I also had Starlin Nunez. So those are my 2 pitchers or my 2 players that I had highlighted, position players that I had highlighted. So I won't go. Actually, no, I also had Andrew Musette. So I had 3 position players. He went 3 for 10 with a double, a couple of walks, and an RBI. So give him some love as well. And then I had 2 pitchers. I don't know if you had any more position players before you wanted to jump to the pitching side of things.
I'll just throw the quick shout outs. Stanley Tucker, 3 steals. Giveon Cervana, 3 for 11 with 3 steals. And then Luis Anahar made his single A debut. He had a pretty massive FCL this year, but struggled 1 for 15. But hey, got the first single A hit. So maybe he has a bigger second week.
Yeah, for sure. On the pitching side of things, the first guy I wanted to highlight was Leighton Finley. Went 5 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. I've been seeing his name pop up a lot lately, as admittedly someone who's not as plugged in with the Red Sox farm system as I would like to be. But I've been seeing his name a lot in recent weeks. So I checked out his numbers the last few weeks. He's actually been doing a pretty damn good job. What year was he drafted? I'm blanking. I'm
this year.
He was this past year's draft. Yeah, he was a 6th round pick last year, and overall this season a 3.19 ERA, 8 outings, 7 starts, 36 and 2/3 innings. The strikeouts to walk numbers could be a little bit better, but obviously 7 strikeouts to 2 walks this past outing. He had 6 strikeouts to 2 walks the outing prior. This is his third outing or fourth outing out of the last 5 where he's allowed 1 run or fewer. Actually, out of this season, he's made 8 appearances, 7 or 1 earned run or fewer, and then he had that 1 blow-up outing on the 16th of May where he gave up 8 earned over 3. So for the most part this season, he's been really damn good. And then just that 1 outing where it was not so great, where he had 4 walks, a strikeout, 10 hits in 3 innings. He had a Tanner Houck start, but he's largely been very, very good. Another really nice draft pick in last year's class from the pitching side of things. And then I also had Jacob Myers, 3 innings, hitless. He did have 3 walks, but also struck out 3. Another solid a week from him.
Cole Tolbert allowed 2 hits over 4 2/3 scoreless innings. Struck out 3, walked 1. 1.35 ERA, 143 batting average against 0.83 WHIP in 4 appearances, 3 starts this year. 16 strikeouts, just 5 walks and 13 1/3. And then for me, the big one, Williams Rodriguez. 2 games this week, picked up a save both times. 2 scoreless innings, 1 hit, struck out 2 batters, didn't walk any. So on the year, 4.63 ERA, but he only has a 198 batting average against and a 1.03 WHIP in 15 appearances, 21 strikeouts, 6 walks, and 23 1/3 innings. So the interesting thing about him, month of May, 2.03 ERA, 149 batting average against, 0.68 WHIP over 8 appearances. But you can cut those down a little bit even more. 10 Ks, 2 walks, 13 1/3 innings, 2 homers allowed in the month. Both of those homers came in his first 2 appearances. And then you can cut it down even more. 4 runs, 3 earned, 6 hits, both of the homers in 4 innings over his first 2 outings. The rest of the month, he allowed 1 run. It was unearned on 1 hit in the final 6 appearances, which was 9 1/3 innings. So just bananas the rest of the month. Like, he kind of sucked the first 2 outings of the month. And ridiculous. Only 20 years old. Really interesting stuff on the mound. He was one of those guys, like, at the start of the year, when I was doing like my roster projections, that I put on the team. I had him on the single A team because he pitched a little bit on the team last year. Like, he had like 10 innings or something like that in single A last year. But it was like I could kind of see them putting him back in the FCL because the numbers were not great. And they drafted 900 pitchers last year. So, like, it was one of those things where it was like, man, what are they doing with all these arms? You knew they were going to have to put some people back in the FCL, and he ended up making the team, and then he struggled so much at the start of the year, and I didn't know what they were going to do. And he's just been fantastic. And, like, the thing is, he doesn't even throw that hard, but he has, like, an interesting delivery, and, like, the slider's really good, and I'm intrigued to see what he can do. Obviously, like I said, the last couple outings have just been fantastic. And I think he's someone who, as he grows, like, he's not going to be 21 until after the season. His birthday's in November. So I think there's a lot of room for him to still grow. Like, I could see them being able to add some velo. Maybe he gets into like the mid upper 90s. And I would like to see him up in high A before the end of the year. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting arms, like we mentioned, Finley, Myers, Tolbert, and then there's still so many other, Barrett Morgan. Like, Salem has infinite arms on that roster that are draftees from last year. And then you throw in like Jason Gilman, Miles Patton, and then you throw in people that weren't draftees last year, Dalvinson Reyes, Jose Bayo part of the
The last man standing.
So like there's so many people that I feel like might take precedent over him, but I just there's something about him that has always kind of intrigued me, and then just to see him be absolute nails recently, I just there's certain players in the minor leagues especially that I think anyone that watches a lot of minor league baseball will completely understand this. They capture you for some reason. And he's kind of sticking to me right now where it's like, I need to see the Red Sox, cling on to him the way I am right now. I need to see them obsess over him a little bit because there's something about him that very much intrigues me. So I'm hoping they figure something out with him because the last couple weeks have been very, very, very good.
Do you have anybody else?
I do not. I'm very content on ending my day ranting about Williams Rodriguez because I feel like this will be the first time in history that a podcast ends with a Williams Rodriguez discussion.
Well, you will not have any contention for me on that. I only had the few guys I had mentioned. Yeah. Anything else you want to wrap it up?
I think I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
Do you want me to do the outro?
Yeah, you got it.
All right. Sounds good.
You're the boss man.
That'll do it for this edition of the Pesky Report. Again, episode 581, presented by Beyond the Monster and TJ Stats. Promo code PESKY for 25% off your first month over there. A special thanks to Andy Sadoski for joining us for the first half hour of this episode. Had a really nice discussion with him. So thanks again to Andy. Get well soon, Derek, for the 65th time of 2026. Please figure it out, my guy. But yeah, if you're not following us on Twitter or Instagram, we are at The Pesky Report over there. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. The Pesky Report. Leave us a review, like us, share us, do the things that you do to podcasts that you listen to or watch on YouTube. But yeah, for Hunter, I'm Jordan. Until next time, peace out and go Sox.
Like, this is called the Pesky Report. Like,